lies deep way under the surface, and like a fire needs coal in the furnace. This is your goal that makes it all worth it. This is your why that gives you your purpose. Let's go. Thoughts can keep you down, pushing deep until you drown, or they can keep you up strong, focused on the now. Glass half full, or has it been emptied out? Well, that's all up to you and your mind. Do you doubt anything, everything, not a thing? Make my thoughts work for me, manifest what I need, what I want, what I see. I could be anything, I attract all the things that I see. I believe I'll achieve as I breathe in and out again and again. I don't doubt, I sit in a plan and I found out that I can execute. If I'm driven, if I listen, if I learn all the wisdom, read some books, something written, watch the best, teach a system I invest. Never hidden, I ain't scared, ain't no chicken, I take dares. I'll be winning, you get back what you're giving. Find the reason that you're living, what you're good at, all your gifts and what you love. Take a risk and find out what you've been missing, yeah. Little lies deep way under the surface, and like a fire needs coal in the furnace. This is your goal that makes it all worth it. This is your why that gives you your purpose. Little lies deep way under the surface, and like a fire needs coal in the furnace. This is your goal that makes it all worth it. This is your why that gives you your purpose. Testing, learning, and turning into a better me. Lies deep way under the surface, and like a fire needs coal in the furnace. This is your goal that makes it all worth it. This is your why that gives you your purpose. Little lies deep way under the surface, and like a fire needs coal in the furnace. This is your goal that makes it all worth it. This is your why that gives you your purpose.
Olympic hero Kurt Angle, and you're listening to the We Are Wrestling podcast.
Yo, listen, this is the best wrestler alive, Platinum Max, and you're listening to the We Are Wrestling podcast.
Hey everybody, Eric Bischoff here, and you are listening to We Are Wrestling podcast.
Hello everyone, this is Nunzio, former WWE Cruiserweight Champion, and you're watching We Are Wrestling podcast.
We Are Wrestling podcast. Check them out, man.
Stay tuned, listen to the podcast. Best one, Donnie might teach you a thing or two.
We Are Wrestling. And if you don't listen to it, then it's one-on-one with The Undertaker. Featuring your hosts, Danny and Donnie. We Are Wrestling.
What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs. I'm the CEO, Mercedes Monet. What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs worldwide. I'm the host with the most, Mr. We Are Wrestling himself, the best one, Donnie here with...
What's going on, everybody? Danny here, man. 1/3 of We Are Wrestling. And obviously, you guys can tell we're not joined by Ben today. He had last-minute things he had to do with his family or whatever. But me and Donnie are taking the reins. And yes, Ben, we got a signed photograph for Ben, who is the biggest money mark of Mercedes Monet.
That's right. Yes, we do. And we have a stacked episode lined up for all of you guys this week. And it's going to be a good one. It feels great to be back. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac already and you're listening to this episode, wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, give us a 5-star review, not just any review, a best one review, and download the episode. But if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac, you're already over on the YouTube channel where you get the best pro wrestling content, and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, we recommend you to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO, and of course you already know, the grind is real.
So, man, you weren't here last week. Me and Ben pretty much took the reins or whatever, and I thought, for the most part, it was a pretty solid episode. There was less fucking around and more, topic discussions that were being had. Welcome back to the show, man. How was your?
It feels good. What was that?
How was your sickness? How was your sickness?
Oh, dude, absolutely horrible, man. Like, I definitely caught something from Big Event New York, and I was trying everything to get onto the show because I don't like missing episodes, but I felt it. I was not getting any sleep, and then I went to the doctors, and unfortunately, I had strep throat, but we already got that all taken care of. Antibiotics really helped, rest helped, and we're feeling 150% today, which, man, what a crazy week it has been. And we got some announcements also that we can announce here. This Saturday, if you guys have nothing going on and you're in the Western Mass, Connecticut area, come out to Blitzkrieg Pro at the Pierogi Hall, the Old County Banquet Hall. We Are Wrestling. We're going to be sponsoring 2 matches. We're going to be sponsoring Paul London, former WWE superstar, versus Andy Brown, great upcoming guy. And we are going to be sponsoring our first WWE ID official match between Marcus Mathers and Sean Legacy. How do you feel about that, Danny? We Are Wrestling is sponsoring a WWE match at Blitzkrieg this Saturday.
It's kind of wild, to be honest, just like you, I grew up a massive WWE fan or whatever, that was the primary company that I watched when I was younger or whatever, because when I started getting into pro wrestling was, the late 90s or whatever, they didn't have DVR, they didn't have on demand or whatever, so you had no choice but to watch the shows live, or if you, were wealthy, you had 2 TVs to where you could, pop a VHS in, a second TV or whatever and tape the show that you weren't able to watch live. So I wasn't a WCW guy or an ECW guy. I was a WWE guy, So that was it's just wild all these years later to not like me solely being attached to something WWE related, but being able to be a part of something that is in that realm. I never thought that would be bro, we're 2 dudes from Massachusetts, and we're not from Boston. We're not from a big massive city or whatever. What the fuck is our life? Why is this happening to us? Life is just crazy.
And the crazy thing is, this has been in the works for the last couple of months. We couldn't say anything. We had to wait until WWE posted it. And, man, very excited to be a part of history because I love this whole WWE ID thing that is going on. But if you guys can't make it to Enfield, Connecticut, you can also subscribe to IWTV and watch Blitzkrieg this Saturday live. And myself and I believe Ben will be at the Blitzkrieg show. And I will be giving him this Saturday his lovely 8x10, which, don't worry, I got a frame for it. Ready to go. Ben will be loving this beautiful face.
I love the picture that you chose too, because it's just
do you know why Mercedes I chose the picture, Danny?
Mercedes is staring into Ben's soul.
That's why I picked it.
It's gonna watch him while he sleeps.
I had plenty of options. I could have picked her wrestling, holding titles, a bikini picture, but I thought, let's let her look into Ben's soul. I thought that was the best picture, and I had to. It was the close-up. I thought it was perfect. But we do got some.
She did say something, but you gotta wait till Friday to watch the vlog.
Oh, the whole thing, which we are going to talk about the vlog in just a minute, but I wanted to show some love to the We Are Wrestling Maniacs that are in the live chat, because if you guys want to be a part of the live episodes, We're recording them every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't have to be no Patreon member. There's no paid wall behind this. This is totally free on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel every Wednesday, 5 p.m. We got Crazy 101 in here. We also have We Are Wrestling member Angelo in here. What is going on? He's a member, so we will show his comment. And we also have Brian Cutler in the chat. We got Matthew. And, oh yeah, we're going to talk about Mariah May news later on in the show, which I will let you guys know a couple of the topics that we do have coming up here. We're going to be talking about the Jon Moxley spike that a lot of people are pissed off about, some new legend deals that are happening. We're also going to be talking about Sting and Lex Luger, and even Gail Kim's firing from TNA Wrestling. We're going to be putting over Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona, and our main event topic will be Saraya, because she did depart from AEW. And of course, we will be talking about Mariah May possibly leaving as well. So we got a very stacked show this week for you guys.
Absolutely. And the show is free for everybody to enjoy and, get your comments in or whatever. But super chats are definitely greatly appreciated, as well as memberships, because once we get to a certain amount of members, we are going to be releasing exclusive content. We're going to be doing exclusive live streams that are only going to be available for members. It's going to be awesome. We have a lot of things in the works, so make sure you guys get those super chats and memberships in. It definitely is a good way to support what we do.
And that's the thing, I just want to let you guys know, because I know you and Ben talked about it a little bit here on the show last week while I was away. So we're not going to be showing every comment, because, we do have a whole show going on. But if you send a super chat, it will be shown, and whatever we're talking about, we will pause and talk about what you send. Just to put that out there, but we are still reading the comments throughout the episodes. Yep. It just won't be shown on screen unless it's a super chat.
We just want to make we want to make it fair for everybody. And if somebody, somebody needs to get some kind of special privileges, or if they're sending money to have a question asked or whatever. So
absolutely. And I'll answer this real quick by Matthew. Donnie, will you be at WrestleMania weekend? Unfortunately, I will not be there, because with We Are Wrestling, very busy week when it comes to the big PLEs and pay-per-views. We like to do marathon weeks. We like to give you guys a bunch of exclusive content. And yeah, the reason why I'm not going to be going to WrestleMania is I just spent a lot of money at the big event New York, which the vlog is ready to go. It'll be coming out this Friday on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Danny, you got a little preview of the vlog. What's your thoughts on it?
I actually really enjoyed it, and the thing I love about your vlogs is like there's certain content creators, whatever, that, they'll just vlog the event or whatever, and who they meet or whatever. But you literally vlog your entire experience, from the time you arrive to the hotel, from the time that you get to the venue, to who you're gonna be meeting, and you get a video of them signing your merchandise or whatever it is. It's almost like a day in your life kind of thing or whatever, and it tells a story. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end to all your vlogs or whatever. So you guys are definitely going to be in for a great piece of content on Friday.
And that's the thing, when it does come to vlogs, I want it to have that one-on-one experience for people that aren't at the big event New York. I want them to pretty much put their feet in my shoes and live my experience. So whenever I do a vlog, whether it's at Blitzkrieg Pro or a Comic-Con or a wrestling convention, my number one goal is to always just give the fans that that experience. That's what it's all about to me.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people that either they're not in the area, so they can't go, they can't afford it, stuff like that or whatever. So, everybody should be able to experience it, even if it's through somebody else. So,
absolutely. And speaking of experiences, We Are Wrestling, we just posted another vlog as well last week, or a couple weeks ago. Two of our We Are Wrestling maniacs, Dan the Man and Dylan, Silky J, went on the Jericho cruise and got to party with Will Ospreay. If you guys have not checked out this vlog, highly recommend checking it out, because, man, I will tell you, for Dan's first time vlogging or doing some type of content, I was very impressed with all the footage that him and Silky got. Great
Absolutely.
stuff.
Absolutely. Like, people don't understand like what it takes to be a content creator, and like it's more than just like picking up a camera and talking to it. You know what I mean? There's like, you got to have life behind it, or else nobody's gonna find it interesting.
Hey, Danny, I'm sorry. I'm going to break our rule here for a minute because I am a little egotistical here. Brian Cutler, Donnie, you have a lot of aura. I appreciate that, Brian. Thank you. Yeah, if you're going to give me compliments, I might show your comments. I'm the host with the most. I get to choose.
It's gonna be the entire show. Just gotta be like, oh, Donnie's the greatest. Donnie's a king. Donnie's the greatest thing to ever exist.
One of our maniacs, Josh Toy Show, who's like a part of the lives all the time, I'm sure he'll hop in pretty soon. I did put him on the spot and ask him who's his favorite host on the podcast.
Yeah, I know, and I'm not gonna say his response or whatever.
I wonder who he picked.
but fuck me, right? I didn't even get mentioned.
Well, you did just come back though, but he did show, like, he was talking high on everybody though. That's a part of the team.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, now guys, let's get into our We Are Wrestling Power of the Poll. Every week, we recommend you guys to go to our community tab over on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel. You get 1 week to vote, but because I was sick and these guys don't know how to run a show, you guys had 2 weeks to vote on this one.
Oh, fuck off.
Oh, man, I wish I could just give it to Ben right now, but I can't, unfortunately.
See,
He's
bro,
in
it's
school.
already fucking starting.
All right, so the question that we asked you guys a couple weeks ago was, which wrestler had the best impression of another wrestler? And the results are, drum roll. Well, there's no drum roll effects. Thank you, Ben. And the winner is Triple H and D-Generation X as the Nation of Domination, 47%, while only 8% of you guys picked Kevin Owens as Stone Cold, 22% picked Kurt Angle mocking Thugonomic Cena, and 23% of you guys picked Shawn Michaels mocking Hulk Hogan. Do you agree with the Maniacs on this one?
I actually do, and like, it's been years since I saw that segment or whatever, but I remember they had this dude that dressed up like Owen Hart, and like, bro, like he was like, enough is enough and it's time for a change. Like,
enough is enough and it's time for a change.
It's fucking hilarious. I heard that dude is not doing well. The guy that was Owen Hart in that segment.
Oh, shit.
He, like,
I just rewatched that too not that long ago.
He got in a car accident or whatever, and he was like fucking like in a coma for a couple months. Like he's not doing that good at all. I didn't even know he was still alive. I had to look it up.
Damn, that's unfortunate.
I like that segment. I enjoyed it, and mainly for the Owen Hart. Like, people, they love making fun of Owen Hart back in the day. Like, that was like the rib.
Well, that's the thing about Owen Hart was, like, he was such a good, like, whiny heel. Like, he did such a great job at it. And that's like why, for me, dude, I know you're an Attitude Era fan like myself, and I never understood why they had to give Owen Hart that blue blazer gimmick. Like, he had aura. He was so over with whatever you gave him.
I definitely think that was a Vince call. But like, if you...
No, it was I think it was Vince Russo, because Owen Hart, I know, did say that like there was supposed to be like a love triangle with Deborah, Jeff Jarrett, and himself, but Owen Hart's a family man and he didn't want to do it. So that's when Vince Russo decided, let's give him the blue blazer gimmick, let him be a comedy act, even though like the Blackheart thing was working.
Yeah.
I just never understood it.
If you hear anybody talk about Owen Hart, like especially like any of the numerous podcasts or whatever, people that were actually around him and like friends with him, like I've heard that he was a massive like prankster. Like he would just prank fucking everybody in the locker room. You know what I mean? So that is kind of like, he was probably like, bro, make fun of me, man. Like that's fucking awesome. So that was a great segment, man. I haven't seen it in years, but I do remember that, and I do remember fucking Triple H with the fucking wig.
Yep. I do remember that as well, which I know Angelo just said that. I always like the Triple H and Shawn Michaels impersonating Vince and Shane, which we did ask you guys as well in the Power of the Poll. Which ones would you want to add to it, like if they were in there, like some of your favorites? And I will read a couple of the comments here that I do have from the Power of the Poll. And we have NWO when they did the Horseman. Kevin Nash as Arn Anderson was hilarious. Jay Lethal mimicking Ric Flair in TNA. That was hilarious. Let's see. Miz as LA Knight. So definitely a lot of good options there in our Power of the Poll. But YouTube only gives us 4 options, and those are the 4 that we went with. Oh, Tony Storm and Mariah was amazing. I agree. Everything
Tony
about
Storm
that
is
whole
the-
storyline was
Tony
great.
Storm is like the best gimmick in the entire fucking company of AEW, bro. Like,
Agree.
there's nobody in AEW that even comes close.
Agree. But don't worry, guys. Next week for the We Are Wrestling Power of the Poll, you can already go to the community tab and vote now. And because it will be April Fool's Week, I decided let's vote who's the funniest professional wrestler. And out of these 4, you get to pick between Chris Jericho, Santino Marella, The Rock, or R-Truth. And the only way that your voice can be heard is going to the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel in our community tab and vote now. You have 1 week exactly to do that. Oh, man, I just realized that Ben's going to be getting his 8x10 photo during April Fool's Week.
That's kind of a tough one, bro, to be honest with you. Because, like, you have R-Truth and Santino Marella, like, I feel like both those dudes are fucking tied, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. And that's the thing that's going to make it tough because they're all funny in their own ways. And it was like different eras where like they were very funny. Like Santino carried that PG era around like the 2010s. R-Truth is carrying the comedy stuff now. The Rock was running it during the Attitude Era. Jericho has just been like all over the place. So I think it's definitely some solid options. But if you want your voice to be heard, vote now.
You know, I want to say this regarding Jericho, whatever, because he has been getting a lot of hate recently, like over the last couple months or whatever. But like, I don't think anybody has reinvented themselves more than him. Like the dude, like he doesn't care, like, you know, of his popularity, whatever. Like if you want him to do something, he'll do it. You know what I mean? He's like always been like a company guy for whatever company he's working with.
And that's why, like, throughout his career, too, like, he got a lot of heat. Because he was the one guy that, like, wasn't afraid of speaking up. Like, he didn't care about the politics that were happening, which is why he would get into altercations with guys like Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. So you always have to respect that from an individual. Especially in, like, a very selfish business.
People don't like Jericho now because of the, you know, the learning tree gimmick or whatever. But I'm telling you right now, like, you know, once Jericho retires or once, you know, God forbid something happens to him, we don't have Jericho anymore, I guarantee you all the motherfuckers, you know, making fun of him and talking shit about him, they'll
give him his flowers. But Dan Edwards in here, anybody who makes fun of Jericho makes the list. I agree with you, Dan, on that one.
Bro, that's my, whenever somebody follows me and when I go live on TikTok, the minute somebody follows me, is like, you made the list.
I did hear that on one of your streams because I try to pop in like here and there, show some love. So now, guys, with that being said, let's get into our We Are Wrestling weekly TV recap. And quickly, before we get into that, Danny, what is your highlight of the week?
Oh, God, man. My highlight of the week. You know, I think this is going to be the first time to where I don't think I have one. Like, I just... You know, the crowds overseas, and like, I guess
that's a highlight.
My highlight of the week, I guess, could say like, I could get used to, you know, streaming at 3:00 instead of fucking 8:00 at night. You know what I mean?
I do like the afternoon Raws. I am enjoying it.
Everything I need done before 8:00, and I can have the rest of the night to just fuck off and do whatever I want. I love it. I could get used to it, bro. I could get used to it.
Yeah, man. My highlight of the week, Angelo, we're opposites here, man, because my highlight of the week, once again, has got to go to freaking John Cena. And now that I am on the We Are Wrestling podcast, I want to talk about it real quick. Because you and Ben were just freaking
I'm not a fan, bro.
deep.
I'm not a fan, bro. I'm not.
So this is the perfect plug, all right? If you are enjoying this heel run right now that John Cena is taking us on, honestly, the best thing that you could do right now is go to the We Are Wrestling Clips YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, and go to this video right here, one of our clips from last week's episode, and just comment. Just comment some shit. Give Danny and Ben some shit right there. Because I've been enjoying the comments on this, man. I have been enjoying it.
bro.
But
It's just like
I'm really enjoying the heel Cena because like I feel like the problem is with the people that are criticizing it is you really just need to listen to what Cena's saying. It's not the same jumble crap that he did 2 weeks in a row. He's talking about things throughout his career and he's trying to paint us as the heels.
Yeah, I
Bless
get
you.
that. It's just I feel like the promo last week is the same promo that we got on Monday this week. It's literally the same, and we haven't got any kind of explanation as to why he decided to, side with The Rock.
I agree
And
with that.
Monday is going to be his last appearance for like the next 2-3 weeks. Like I don't even know if we see Cena again before WrestleMania.
They better have some video packages lined up. They better have something for the weeks that Cena's
His
away.
last advertisement is March 31st, which is Monday.
Well, they better fucking do something. Because I've been enjoying the promos. My only critique that I only have one little critique. They should have had some video packages. They should have had some stuff lined up while Cena was finishing his film in Africa after Chamber.
Yeah,
I think they waited a little too long. That is my only critique is the timing.
With the amount of publicity that his whole heel turn got, I feel like WWE dropped the ball by not, following up on it sooner.
That I do agree.
They should have had something. I don't know what you're telling me they couldn't have filmed. Like if this was the plan, right? If they knew this was the plan for weeks or whatever, they could have easily filmed a bunch of stuff, beforehand or whatever, and had it set and ready to go for, the eventual heel turn. We didn't see anything. He turned heel, and then we didn't hear anything except fucking a recap of what happened until Cena came back 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? And like, I just feel like by that time, so much hype has like died down from it, and everybody was like so like amped up about what Cena was gonna say, and then Cena comes out with, You guys suck and you guys hated me for 20 years. Like, what? Like, the follow-up.
There's more to it than that. But I get what you're saying. I do understand.
The follow-up was not as good as what happened at the Chamber.
I will say, out of anybody, man, in the segments with Cody and John Cena, man, Cody is looking really good.
Yeah, my issue is not with Cody. He has the intensity. He has the anger. He has, I want the real John Cena. I don't want this little bitch that's standing in front of me. Like, that's how he needs to be. Like, the dude literally got his ass whipped.
Hey, the crowd is instantly behind him.
You know what I mean?
I was saying this in the group chat, too, to you and Ben. I think John Cena's heel turn is going to cook once he gets that championship. Because with Hulk Hogan, a lot of people, don't remember that, it wasn't right away where NWO had all that momentum. It was when he won the WCW championship and sprayed that shit NWO. That is where Hogan built that aura. That is where, the popularity, really, went up. And I think with John Cena, once he gets that championship and, we see him try to ruin professional wrestling, that is where, people are going to start saying, oh, yeah, now I see, what we're doing. It's just the problem is, and this is why I can't argue with you or Ben with your critiques, because they're valid, they're fair. But the problem is, it all comes down to they should have done something. a vignette, an interview, something after the Chamber, but they waited 3 to 4 weeks until we got to Europe. And that's the only problem. But I really did enjoy the promos myself because I think that John Cena knows how to piss off the crowd. And Cena's doing a good job as a heel. I think it's just timing. Especially now that we're only a month away from WrestleMania, 22 days or something. Like they should be already this should have happened weeks ago.
Maybe I'm in the minority here, but with what happened at the Elimination Chamber, Cena kicks Cody in the nuts or whatever, shoves him down. And then, just starts wailing on him. He ends up hitting him with the title belt. And then, he holds Cody down so The Rock can whip him with the belt. With everything that happened, I feel like the follow-up was extremely weak for what we saw. I expected so much more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but not everybody has to be aggressive.
Yeah, but I understand you can't give everything away right away. You know what I mean? It's just not how things work or whatever. But him coming back, it was all about you people. I need to hear an explanation. I better hear an explanation on Monday as you can dislike the people, but why did you do that to Cody? You haven't said anything about Cody Rhodes. It's all about the people.
But I will say this.
I
will say this, though. One thing that you and Ben didn't mention last week on the show. Also, the final boss. He's the problem here. Because he was with John Cena, and we haven't heard nothing since. Not even on social media or anything. Why hasn't the final boss... At least before John Cena showed up to Europe, you could have had some video packages with the final boss for a couple weeks. Until we got to Europe. We could have done something.
Bro, these guys get fucking, private planes or whatever to go to fucking Italy for the day. You're telling me they couldn't have fucking found a time to meet up and film some shit, They
got a lot of hours they're killing before the shows.
There's so much. And, being on a movie set. I've been on small sets before, whatever. I've done acting before. There's a lot of time in between. People automatically think that you're on a movie set. It's go, 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 go all the time. No, you film a scene. And then you fucking go fuck off in your trailer for fucking 3 hours so they can set up another scene. That's why it takes fucking months.
But also WWE does one-take promos nowadays too. So exactly. It would literally take 5 to 10 minutes to do.
Exactly. So I will never accept the excuses. Oh, there wasn't enough time. There was no way to do it. Fuck all that. You're a $1 billion company. There's always fucking look at what we're doing right now. You could have fucking just had each, Cena and Rock in fucking different locations with a green screen and fucking spliced them in. There's a lot you could have fucking did, bro.
Exactly.
I will never accept the excuse.
That's why I say the timing is off, but the promos, I'm just I'm putting the timing to the side. I'm looking at the promos. I personally enjoyed them, but I understand people's critiques.
I will say. And I said this on my Monday stream on my channel. This whole John Cena wanted to take WWE away from the fans. I will accept that if he wins the title from Cody and then smashes it with a sledgehammer, douses that bitch in lighter fluid and lights the thing up in the middle of the ring and burns the fucking title.
You never know what's gonna happen. We'll just have to wait and see. But a couple comments that we will read here based off the John Cena promos. Dan Edwards. Cena's promos are a win-win. If he wins at WrestleMania 41, then his heel turn is justified. If Cena loses at WrestleMania, then Cody is hugely put over as the new face of WWE, even more than last year's WrestleMania. I agree. 1,000%.
Yeah, but I just feel like Cena has no choice but to win. He has to win. With as overhyped as and the amount of publicity that his heel turns gotten or whatever, and I feel like he has to win at this point. And I was against that. I didn't want Cena to win, but I almost feel like he has to now.
Jeffrey, he said, the first Cena heel promo was cool. Second felt lazy and repeated. Okay, I can understand that because the first promo was better than the second. I won't argue that. Angelo, he should be interacting with people backstage. I agree, 1,000%. Cena's worked with a lot of these guys throughout the years. Why aren't we getting an interaction with Cena and Punk? Maybe they want to wait. Randy Orton? Why aren't we asking Kevin Owens? All these guys that have worked with Cena. Like, at least something.
You want to know what I find hilarious? Cody is technically a SmackDown superstar. Why are we having all these segments on Raw and not on SmackDown?
Oh, come on, Andy. They don't give a fuck about the brand split.
I know, but you have a 3-hour show to kill on a Friday night. You're telling me you can't figure out something to do on that show?
That is true. You're not wrong.
There's a lot that I just dislike. Like, the follow-up was not as good as the execution of, like, what originally happened and why we're here in the first place.
Also, one more comment we'll read, and then we'll get into this. The reason why I'm warming up to Cena's heel promo, it's build-up anticipation to see what Cena says back to Cody after Cody says his piece. Cena, a menace on the mic, that's why some people don't like it. I agree, man, because John Cena knows how to get under people's skins, which is why I think he is repeating similar to what he said in his first heel promo. Because John Cena's goal is for you not to like him. Like, Ben coming on here last week and saying, like, oh, if Cena's going to be a whiny little bitch, then I'm going to shut my TV off. That is exactly what a true old school heel would want you to do.
Yeah.
So Cena knows what he's doing. And that's the thing, like, getting under you and Ben's skin, he knows what he's doing. And we don't have old school heels like that in 2025.
I just hate the fact that, like, you know, like, I don't even think he said anything to Cody except listen, kid. And then obviously
that was great. And then Cody got that massive pop. Like, they set that up good.
Exactly, but like both times Cody came out to confront Cena. Cena ends up walking the fuck away. It's like, bro, you were tough enough to kick this dude in the nuts and bash him in the face with his title, but he called you a little bitch. So what'd you do? You walk away.
Hey, he's not giving the people what they want. They want to see Cody beat Cena up, so Cena's walking away. That's old school. That's wrestling 101.
I need more, and like
yes,
I said,
I will say next Monday on Raw, if they don't give us more, then I'll come on here and I will call it out.
Especially if that's Monday is going to be his last appearance for a couple weeks. Which, I mean, we only have, 4 or 5 weeks till Mania? It's Easter weekend. I think the 19th and 20th. And if he's not going to be on the show for a couple weeks, like, we need something to build investment. At this point, bro, at this rate right now, like where we're sitting right now, I don't want this to be the main event because it just doesn't feel like it's a main event caliber match. It feels like fucking Jey Uso and Gunther.
Yeah, but it's still no, absolutely not.
Oh yeah, it does, bro.
No, like there's so much more aura to this match than
the only
Jey
reason I'm
Gunther.
excited for this match is the only reason I'm excited for this match is because I'm excited to see if we do get a Steve Austin and Rock face off. Like that's
I will say the way they should advertise it, they should have Steve Austin with Cody, Rock should be with Cena. That's
legitimately the only reason I'm looking forward to this match is to see Austin. Like, I don't give a fuck about the match. I don't, because they have.
But you see, you're in the minority, because I think a lot of people really do give a fuck about this match because it is one of those passing of the torch moments. This is like from 10 years ago, Rock versus Cena. This is like this generation's Cody versus Cena is that Rock versus Cena. Rock versus Hogan. It's one of those matches. So I think there's a lot of people that do give a fuck.
I just feel Cody and Cena, they are capable of a lot more than what they're actually doing.
Oh, that was a crazy bitch slap by Jimmy with Gunther. That was... But with that being said, guys, now let's get back onto the show and talk about some TV recaps. So starting things off here, last Wednesday on AEW Dynamite, there's fans who have heavily criticized the Spike Bat spot with Jon Moxley in his match against Adam Copeland. What's your thoughts on it? Do you think people are overreacting, or you think people are fair?
I don't think people are overreacting, bro. I don't think it's like, I don't think it should be getting hate or whatever, because like we should know like what Jon Moxley, you know, like the kind of he's a deathmatch guy. You know what I mean? Hold on, and you know, I don't think it was necessarily needed to get a close-up shot of them trying to take the spikes out of his back because, like, you could see his fucking skin, like, peeling and stuff like that. I don't think that was needed. You know what I mean? But, like, it's not like it was back in the ECW days. Like, everybody is so fucking soft nowadays. You know what I mean? Like, you make fun of their fucking hair and they'll go whine and bitch in the corner for fucking 6 hours. Like, people today are not like they were when we were growing up. Like, people are extremely fucking soft. They're extremely fucking sensitive. Like, you make fun of them at all and they'll be fucking bitching about it for a month. Like, you know, like, people just cannot take brutality like they used to be. Like, you know, when we were kids, like, we could see somebody with fucking, you know, somebody get a fucking fork shoved in their fucking eye and we'd be like, okay, whatever, that's cool, you know. Like, you know, like,
here's what I want to say about it. And I think that this all comes down to tribalism, because I think if WWE did this exact thing, nobody would be criticizing it. Nobody would. I think because it's AEW, AEW's easy to hate on, it's the cool thing to do. That is why friggin' people are hating on the bat spot. I actually thought that it was brilliant, because one, it got a lot of people talking, and two, they're in a street fight, anything goes, so, like, I don't want to see, like, no blood or, like, no action. But I can understand, like, the brutality, like, okay, maybe it's a little too much, but I do think, like, if Jon Moxley wants to freaking drive 11 hours because there's a snow freaking thing going on and he wants to freaking get a freaking bat with spikes in his back, then why are we bitching?
I will say... It makes no sense that this.
I bet you if friggin' Undertaker threw Mick Foley off the friggin' Hell in the Cell in 2025, guarantee you, like, people would be complaining.
Retro Gamer, I just saw that clip on social media. Did you remember that? Somebody clotheslined Jon Moxley and he came up and his fucking entire forehead was fucking busted open.
Hey, he brushes his teeth until they bleed.
I know. I will say, I feel like this spot was not necessary in Omaha, Nebraska. Not even being the main event on a random episode of Dynamite that people weren't going to remember the next.
Should have been the main event.
It shouldn't, not even that, but it should have been at Revolution. Like, you know, if you were going to do anything, like, do it on a pay-per-view, do it on a bigger stage. Like,
yeah, but on free television, like, you got people talking.
Yeah, but everybody knows that Tony Khan kills it when it comes to, like, AEW pay-per-views or whatever. So I do feel like the AEW pay-per-views, and I would love to be able to find this out if we could find out this information. I feel like the AEW pay-per-views get more viewers than the actual regular TV shows weekly. Because Tony Khan's
with
not good
ratings, you can't really, like, and that's, like, the thing. Like, people still try to, like shit on AEW with their ratings every week on television. But, like, people aren't considering, like, how many people are watching it on Max or, like, across the country on Disney Plus.
That's one thing I want to talk about. That's one thing I want to talk about with you. So, on HBO Max, and I've noticed this, and I've heard a couple other podcasts or whatever talk about this, and it made me think a little bit. Like, on HBO Max, you can, like, you know, they every quarter or whatever they'll release, like, you know, how, like, they're, like, if they have football or NBA or whatever, like, they'll release, like, you know, how they're doing view wise or whatever. And everybody knows how fucking, you know, like, how jazzed up Tony Khan gets if, you know, his shows get really good ratings and really good viewership. And we have yet to hear anything about the AEW viewership on Max. Like, nothing will come out, nothing will get released. And they're able to do so, but it's like Tony Khan is, like, keeping that. So it makes me think that not as many people are viewing it on Max as he was hoping for.
I don't know, because even, like, Netflix, like, after, like, the first premiere episode, like, the numbers have kind of gone down. And WWE's not really talking about it either.
Bro, they're getting higher viewerships now than they were on USA Network, I think.
Well, yeah, they are still getting a little bit more than USA Network, but, like, the numbers are not where they want them to be. Well, I think that people are just making it into a bigger deal than what it is. I think gotta give it time.
I think Raw's been getting, like,
because that's the thing with, like, but that's the thing with WWE going on Netflix, AEW going on Max. Gotta give it time. I think ratings right now should not matter until we get to maybe 6 months. Give it time. I think that people are just impatient. That's the problem.
It just makes me laugh hysterically on the inside. The fact that Tony Khan used to boast every chance he would get, he would boast about his ratings and how good his show is doing. And you would think he would be both if the viewership on Max was really good, and he gets the numbers because
Yeah, but also
AEW.
Tony Khan, like one thing
what I
that
mean?
I'm learning a lot about him, and like then I do want to read some of the comments here. One thing I'm noticing about TK is he is working in silence. I feel like he is being a lot more quieter than he normally is. And I think that he's trying to start letting his work speak for itself. Because for a while, like, he would go on social media and he would continue to just, like, pretty much add pressure that AEW didn't need. But now I feel like he's, like, not really caring so much about that, and he's actually trying to focus on the morals of the talent. He's trying to focus on the shows. Because I think even the shows have gotten a little bit better, and I think a lot of people aren't talking about it. Like, AEW is becoming watchable again.
To an extent. I wouldn't say it's watchable. I haven't done an
I've been hearing a lot of good things from people that have been getting back into
stream.
it.
I haven't done an AEW stream since Revolution.
But a couple comments I do want to address here about the Jon Moxley thing. We got Jeffrey saying, just knowing Mox's flight got delayed and he drove 11 hours for that spot. Crazy. Alex Johnson, I wasn't a fan of the spot because what if a wrestler got seriously injured if they did that spot? Okay, same thing can be said about Randy Orton with going through the thumbtacks at Backlash 2004. Mick Foley going off the Hell in the Cell. I think like if the wrestler wants to do it, the wrestler, it's up to them at the end of the day.
Didn't MVP get set on fire during an Inferno match with The Undertaker or Kane?
Kane, yep. That was, I think, like Armageddon or something.
So, I mean, like,
AEW is the nickel bag of wrestling. Fucking love you, Dan Edwards.
It's not all about, like, oh, it shouldn't have been done because it was gruesome. Like, if you're going to do a spot like that, just do it on a bigger stage than a show that nobody's going to fucking remember the following day. Like,
James
so
all day,
I feel like
we haven't talked about Saraya or Gail Kim yet.
Yeah, I just feel like they wasted that spot. They could have done it at, Double or Nothing. They could have done it at Revolution. Like, instead of, like, that's the only spot that anybody remembers from that show.
But you see here, people remember this spot and people are talking about it. On the pay-per-views, they have so much shit going on that, like, sometimes it's hard to sink in everything that happens because AEW pay-per-views are so fucking good. So I think saving this for Dynamite and having that be one of the highlights, I think great decision because you got people talking, whether it's positive or negative.
Tony Storm and Mariah May definitely had the match of the night at Revolution, no question.
No doubt at all. And
From
I can't
a
wait to get
brutality
into
perspective
Mariah.
and a story perspective. Like a lot of the matches didn't really have much story going into them, and so that automatically knocks points off in my book.
Yeah. So moving on now to our next weekly TV recap. Last Friday on SmackDown, Roman Reigns versus CM Punk versus Seth Rollins is now official for WrestleMania 41. What's your thoughts on the triple threat match?
I mean, I'm not surprised. Like, we kind of knew this was the direction that they're going, and apparently they're going to be having a contract signing on Friday.
I can't wait.
Which, again, and like I said, I love it, and I can't use a VPN or whatever, but if you guys want to watch SmackDown on Friday afternoon, come over to my channel because we're going to be watching it together.
Danny Huckins, PW.
I love these like afternoon shows, man. I love them. They're fucking great.
I think everybody fucking loves them.
Go overseas more often. We're gonna get it again in the summer because
I keep saying this, dude. Like with my like international reactions. At this point, us Americans do not deserve PLEs. We definitely don't deserve weekly shows. And I'm starting to think that we don't even deserve house shows at this point with how lit these crowds are in Europe.
I feel like the house shows are a fucking dead concept.
Yeah, no, it is, but I'm just saying, like, even at a house show, these international fans are way better than, like, our television and PLE fans.
I feel like the crowds have been good, but the shows, for the most part, like, there's good things and bad things or whatever.
Oh, yeah, I think some lazy booking because they know how lit the crowd's going to be.
One of the worst shows of the week, to be honest with you. Like, there's
you have CM Punk give Potato Chip a fucking GTS, massive pop. So exactly. WWE, I feel like, is being a little lazy with the booking decisions.
So we are going to be having a contract signing between Roman, Seth, and Punk on Friday. As far as I know, I don't know. card is always subject to change. So I don't know if they're going to end up scrapping it and wait until they're back in the States for that.
David,
'cause we do have a
when
couple weeks,
WWE
whatever,
comes
but-
back to the States, they're going to be loud. I doubt that.
Well, I heard the first show back in the States is going to be in Chicago.
Okay, never mind. They will be loud in Chicago, but after that,
And don't forget,
they're
Chicago
gonna
is
go to Utah
where
or something.
everybody's assuming that The Rock's going to show up on that show, because if you remember last year during WrestleMania season, Chicago was where The Rock beat Cody's ass outside of his tour bus.
They are going to have The
in
Rock
the
show up
rain.
in some way before Mania. They have to for that match.
I mean, if
They
they're
have
not going to have Cena, they might as well have The Rock, and we need some kind of explanation as to why that's happening. But anyway, so yeah, we're supposed to be getting a contract signed between Seth, Punk, and Roman. I mean, at the time, I really was like amped up and excited about the whole situation we saw, this past Friday or whatever. But after thinking about it over the weekend, it's just, bro, that whole segment was just fucking off. There was just something off about it,
Last Friday, are you talking about?
Yeah,
I
where
agree.
Fucking, like the three of them like faced off, whatever, and then
You know what I think?
randomly
You know what I think
attacked
ruined
Roman.
it? Seth Rollins. You already had him on Raw. Why the hell did you want him on SmackDown? You should have just had CM Punk and Roman Reigns because they have the common denominator. They have Paul Heyman. They're both Paul Heyman guys. Like, why do we need Seth Rollins to be involved in that?
Because
That's what ruined it.
Seth Rollins curb stomped Roman twice at the Rumble, and
Yes, I get
during
that, but
during the
like,
cage match, Roman.
I get that, but like, I
Hell-
want to see some interaction with CM Punk and Roman Reigns.
Yeah, but not right away.
Like, Seth
You don't
Rollins
want-
is on Raw. We already heard him on Raw. Why do we need him to
You
go
don't
on
want that.
SmackDown?
because I feel like we need this triple threat match, because like think of the amount of story that's in this match, bro. Like Roman and Seth were brought into WWE as members of the Shield, to essentially be like the bodyguards, and be the muscle for CM Punk back in the day. Roman has Paul Heyman in his corner. Paul Heyman was essential. Punk wouldn't have got signed to WWE if it was not for Paul Heyman.
Oh,
Paul
very
Heyman
true.
saw him at OVW and went to Vince and was like, bro, you need to sign this fucking guy. You know what I mean? There's plus the history between CM Punk and Seth Rollins. There's just so much. This match is just filled with fucking story. As long as they can make the segments exciting to where it's gonna draw anticipation for what's gonna happen in this match, I feel like this is definitely gonna be main event night one. I guarantee it.
Yep.
can't
So
have-
so here's what I was gonna say. So Retro Gamer's asking any ideas of Punk's favor. I think that his favor is gonna be wanting to get the main event of night one, because he was kind of like teasing it a little bit in that promo this past Monday on Raw, saying like he has something in store. And I think that like because he knows Roman Reigns has the connections, Paul Heyman has the connections, he wants that favor to be main event of night one because they're three of the biggest WWE superstars of all time. And I already said it. Like, I already predicted that the triple threat match was going to happen immediately at the Rumble. I said it was happening. And Seth Rollins is going to beat CM Punk and Roman Reigns because I think Paul Heyman is going to turn on both Reigns and Punk and join Rollins. Because Heyman is unpredictable, and it's been a while since we've had a heel Heyman.
That's definitely a hot take. And like, I know a lot of people are gonna bitch and complain. Oh, Jey Uso should be the main event. Jey Uso should be in the main event. Are we forgetting that? I think it was at WrestleMania 35 that the opening match of that show was Brock Lesnar defending the Universal title against Seth Rollins. Like,
But even last year's WrestleMania, Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre opened night 2, and
Like,
I thought that was a great
you're not gonna-
great spot.
if you're not gonna be the last match on the show, you want to be the first.
Set
Because
an
that's when the
example.
that's when the crowd is the hottest. You know what I mean? So those
I
are
think
both
Jey
great
Uso
spots.
versus Gunther, they should definitely open either night 1 or 2.
Oh, 100%. It has to. I feel like it has to.
Exactly. But I will say the triple threat match going into WrestleMania, glad it's official. I will say, like, there is something missing here in this, like, storyline, like the build-up. Something's missing. I'm sure they'll probably figure out what it is. Maybe this Friday, like, they'll put on a way better segment than last week, now that the match is official. But I will say, very excited about this, and honestly, like, can't even really, like, criticize, like, who wins. Like, I think it's a win-win for me. Like, if what my prediction happens, Seth Rollins with Paul Heyman, I think that that's going to shock the world. They're going to say, no fucking way that happened.
Yeah.
CM Punk wins? Hell
But
yeah.
also-
I'm a CM Punk guy. Roman
but
Reigns,
also-
it's all win-win for me.
But also, would you have that take place at Mania, or would you wait? Because like if that happens,
No bigger place than Mania.
If that happens, opening WrestleMania, like
No,
I feel
this is
like
main
whoever-
event. Triple Threat's main eventing. Night 1.
I mean, yeah,
I'm
you could-
convinced. I'm convinced. But knowing Papa H, he might say, fuck it, and have the World Heavyweight title main event night 1. All right, well, moving on now to our last We Are Wrestling TV recap, because we do got a lot of news to cover. The past few weeks on SmackDown, we've been getting teases for Rey Fénix's WWE debut. What's your thoughts on the video packages so far and him going to SmackDown?
I think it's cool. We haven't really seen much. You know what I mean? It's all speculation, but obviously, like the silhouette, you can tell it's kind of Rey Fénix. Like especially like if you've seen him like compete in like MLW or Ring of Honor or AEW or whatever, like like what the guy looks like. So it's no secret. The only people that are like, who is that, are the people that have no idea what the fuck AEW is or who Rey Fénix is. Which is majority of the WWE audience. I hate to say it. I'm interested in seeing what he does, man. Part of me is upset that he's not gonna be with his brother right away or whatever, because I do feel like the Lucha Brothers, like, if there's one thing that WWE needs to fix, is the tag division, and I
feel like SmackDown's been kind of cooking low key with the tag division.
Yeah, but like
Raw,
Raw
they got
has
some
and whatever. I've been saying for a long time that they need to get rid of the two tag titles, whatever. They need to combine both tag divisions. You know what I mean?
No.
Like that's what I feel like needs to happen, bro.
Why? No.
Because SmackDown barely has a tag division, or Raw barely has.
Okay, Raw barely has one, but SmackDown,
exactly.
But all they need to do is just the writers on Raw just need to stop being lazy. Start utilizing your talent. Because you have tag teams.
I'm sick of seeing War Raiders versus Judgment Day because there's no other fucking tag team.
Well, they have other tag teams. They're just not wanting to showcase them.
Don't even throw in Otis and fucking Akira Tozawa. Don't even throw in LWO. Don't even LWO should fucking.
Hold on a minute. James all day. Both brands tag divisions suck. SmackDown's does not suck. All right. Well, it's just me right now, but I will say SmackDown's does not suck at all, in my opinion. I think if anything, one of my highlights for Friday Night SmackDown is the tag division, with DIY going back and forth with Motor City Machine Guns, Street Profits, and even getting Pretty Deadly in the mix. Like, I think that they're doing a great job on SmackDown, even with Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo. Like, I think that they're doing a great job with their tag division over on SmackDown. I just think that, like, Raw, they're a little bit lazy, and we need to either form new teams, maybe call up some from NXT. I just think that it all comes down to just lazy booking. But, I think Rey Fénix's WWE debut, honestly, very excited. Very excited to see him finally come to WWE. But I will say, I think what's not going to help him is the fact that Penta's already been in WWE, and in WWE, it's all about the larger-than-life characters and aura. And I think that Penta does have a lot more aura and character to him than his brother Fénix. If you do watch both of the Lucha Brothers, you know Rey Fénix is a better in-ring worker, but in the WWE, that doesn't matter. It's all about character, and even like Penta with his mask and like just the entrance and the presentation, it feels badass, and I feel like that's going to kind of foreshadow Rey Fénix's WWE run. I do think at some point they will become a tag team, but I think honestly having Rey Fénix and Penta separated right now is the right move, in my opinion. Only because right now Penta's got so much momentum, and I thought that it was going to be like a 3-week thing. Glad I was wrong. And eventually, I do want to see Lucha Brothers team up together, maybe win some tag titles, but for now, we need to separate the two. Rey Fénix, the one thing that scares me is he doesn't have that aura like his brother Penta, and in WWE, you need to be larger than life. Like, everybody's a good in-ring wrestler.
I see Joey's comment about SmackDown should go back to 2 hours. SmackDown, as of June, SmackDown will be going back to 2 hours. This was only like a trial period to see how it did, like during WrestleMania season, so they could have more time in the show, whatever, to build up the necessary.
Yeah.
stories or
So
whatever going into
so what
Mania.
I was saying, Danny, while you were away, Angelo here agrees with what I said. Basically, Rey Fenix is a better in-ring wrestler. Penta has better character work. And what I was trying to say was, because Penta has better character work, he's going to be more successful in WWE than Rey Fenix. Because everybody in the WWE, they're solid in-ring workers, for the most part. Yeah. But it's all about the larger-than-life characters. It's about the aura. And I think that, like, Penta having a couple months before Phoenix definitely didn't help.
They better give Rey Fenix, like, he better not get fucking Def Rebel, bro. He better have a badass entrance like his brother does. I feel like he would have
They better try to do everything better, because
and
Penta's
Angelo,
always had the better character work.
I don't know
WWE.
if Donnie's talked about this or whatever, but I do have an update on Aleister Black. Now,
What's the,
word on the
quick
street
update?
is Aleister Black will be debuting on SmackDown April 25th.
Let me guess. The Friday after WrestleMania, right?
Yep.
I did say that, because, like, I knew they weren't going to have him, like, before WrestleMania. Like, come on now. Like, you want to have people debut and stuff after Mania. And that's what's going to probably happen with Phoenix, and definitely going to happen with Malachi, and probably other people as well. I wish they would fire Def Rebel, too. But I will say, Rey Fenix, I am really hoping it works out for him, because he is super talented. Like, I watched him and Kenny Omega fight each other at Northeast Wrestling for a whole hour. One of the best matches I've ever watched live in person. So I really do hope that this does work for Rey Fenix, because he's somebody that I have been following going all the way back before he got signed to Impact Wrestling. Like, Lucha Underground is where I started paying attention to Penta and him. So I'm rooting for them, but I don't think that he's going to have a more successful run than his brother.
One of my friends is heavy into, he's really into the whole Lucha Underground thing. I never really got into it, but the thing with Penta is, like, everything from, like, his entrance to the Zero Miedo to the face paint to the context is, like, just the whole overall aura of his character. I feel like it's a little bit more seasoned than Rey Fenix.
Yeah, no. But real quick, Angelo, he said, I thought you said he will answer open challenge at Mania. I said with Malachi, with Aleister Black, if Karrion Kross, like, it was like a little fantasy booking thing. But no, with Rey Fenix, if they were to do something like that, like, I did have that prediction of him, like, being with his brother Penta, but it seems like Penta's going more into the Intercontinental title route, so that's definitely, like, out of the picture. But if he were to debut, it makes more sense after Mania.
My prediction is Penta wins the IC title at WrestleMania, and then that frees up Braun Breaker to potentially go after Jey Uso after he wins the World Heavyweight title, and down the line, Jey Uso loses the title to Braun Breaker. That's my prediction.
I could see that happening. So now, guys, with that being said, let's get into our We Are Wrestling weekly news and rumors. Starting things off, last week, wrestling New York legend Homicide has announced his retirement from professional wrestling. What's your thoughts on this?
I have very limited knowledge on Homicide. Like, obviously, I remember his, like, you know, the LEX days from TNA or whatever. But I didn't really besides that, I didn't really follow anything that he did. But apparently he had a doctor's appointment. They found like a cyst on his brain or whatever, you know, which is very serious stuff. So unfortunately he's retiring, not because he wants to, but because he has to. You know, shout out to him, man. Shout out to him. You know, even if I'm not like that big of a fan, or I'm not that familiar with him, whatever, like, obviously he's had some kind of impact in pro wrestling. Like, I've heard nothing but praisal from just everybody that's in the business about Homicide. You know what I mean? So shout out to him. And I wouldn't necessarily say this has to be like a full-time retirement. Maybe, you know, a couple years down the line, you know, he ends up getting better or whatever, and he's able to get back in the ring doing what he's doing or whatever. But for the time being, sadly, that can't happen. So, you know, just shout out to him. And, you know, he even if he never wrestles, get a hell of a career. You know,
That is true, Angelo. Angelo said, at least he's having a last match. Some people don't get that.
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
I will say this, like, obviously, I became very familiar with Homicide through his TNA run.
Yep.
I friggin' loved
I used to
LAX.
love their
One of
fucking
my
entrance,
favorite
bro.
factions, dude. Him and Hernandez and Conan. Like, I loved original LAX. And Homicide was always, like, my favorite in the group. Like, I always enjoyed, like, his in-ring style. And, like, unfortunately, like, injuries suck. It does happen in professional wrestling. And, like, he's had one hell of a career for somebody who's never been in the WWE. Like, there's people out there in the pro wrestling world that know who Homicide is because of the grind. Him, like, just everything he's had, he would put it all into independent wrestling, and he would always go out there and make a name for himself, especially, like, in the New York area. And even myself and Ricky, we even did a Getting Put Over a while back, and we put over Homicide and talked about, like, some of the highlights throughout his underrated career.
Retro Gamer, I do believe Hector Guerrero was with LAX for a short time, because I remember back then.
I know he was part of, like, the
Hector
Spanish
Guerrero,
announce
I believe
team.
he was one of the announce teams, like, members or whatever. I don't know. I don't think it was a long stint, but I do feel like he did something with LAX. You know, the comparison I would like to say about Homicide is, I almost feel like he's Sting in a weird way. Like, Sting is like this pop culture icon. Like, he's like everybody, even if you've never watched, you know, anything outside of WWE, you know who Sting is. But the thing is, Sting he didn't need, you know, the backing of WWE or the McMahons. Like, he's not like an Undertaker. Like, Undertaker didn't really take off until he signed with WWE and became the Dead Man. Like, Sting, like, all his popularity comes from, you know, things outside of WWE. You know what I mean? But he's just as popular as Hogan. He's just as popular as Undertaker. He's just as popular as anybody else that has ever been in WWE. He was in WWE for like 6 months in 2017 or whatever. You know, it's primarily been NWA. He was in WCW, obviously. He was in AEW. He was in TNA. You know, everything that he's did was primarily outside of the WWE bubble. And I kind of feel like that's the same way with Homicide. Maybe not on the same level, but he's just as popular as anybody else.
But yeah, no, you're right. He worked for Ring of Honor. He worked for TNA for a while, and even worked for some of the biggest independent companies out there, like GCW and Hog, House of Glory. Yep. Like, he's worked for a lot of these companies, and he's been underground. Somebody that has had an amazing career, and somebody that, if you don't know who Homicide is, highly recommend doing your research, because very talented individual. But Ricky did send in the video because Homicide is one of his favorite wrestlers.
Oh shit, so, Ricky knows best.
Ricky knows best. He's back, baby. So let's hear from Ricky Knows Best on what he thinks about the whole retirement and giving him his flowers, because that's one thing Ricky likes to do.
He knows best, ladies and
gentlemen. Get those ratings up, Ricky.
Ricky knows best.
Let's
Believe
go.
in me. God bless you.
Ricky Williams. Moxley's just as crazy as him.
No, Ricky! Bullshit!
They do it too sometimes. I'll be catching it.
It's me, Ricky Williams.
Stop playing.
But that's my opinion.
Spam Ricky Knows Best in the chat. I'll pull it up.
Ricky knows best. Believe in me. God bless you.
What's up, We Are Wrestling? Shout out to the best one. Shout out to the Lone Ranger. Shout out to the whole We Are Wrestling staff. Let me get into it. I'm putting over Homicide real quick. First off, Homicide is a wrestling legend in New York City, the independent circuit, all around the world globally. I'm a big fan of Homicide and what he does. A big fan. I've been a big fan of his for years. When you low-key talk about independent wrestling, top 5, and one of the best in New York underground, Homicide's name should be mentioned entirely. Like what he did in TNA, the tag team division. He was X Division champion briefly. He was Ring of Honor. He's a Ring of Honor legend. Ring of Honor legend. He's wrestled guys like AJ Styles, CM Punk, Samoa Joe, Eddie Kingston. The Briscoes, like the names go on and on and on with Homicide. And if you have never wrestled Homicide, you weren't getting to the main event. He pushed a lot of guys to the main event. If you have never seen Homicide in that ring, you are not getting to the main event. He was the pinnacle of professional wrestling, period. One of the most underrated wrestlers of all time.
Very underrated.
You put Homicide in that ring with anybody,
that.
and he's delivering a classic. A classic. And he's also a former ROH world champion. He literally was the backbone of Ring of Honor. Like I said, the tag team division, I'm going to bring it back there. Him and Hernandez with LEX, with Conan, his former tag team champions, had great matches with AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels alongside Hernandez. Also
favorite.
Team 3D.
Those are my favorite.
The list goes on and on about
Styles
Homicide. He's also a mentor to a lot of guys. Eddie Kingston in particular, because Eddie Kingston gives him his flowers every single interview. And Homicide's a wrestling legend. He's going to be missed. He paid his dues. You don't know Homicide or plan to disrespect him, you got to see me. You have to talk to me first. But no, shout out to Homicide. Appreciate all the things he's done in this culture. And shout out to We Are Wrestling. Peace and God bless.
Well said, man. Well said. And if there's anybody that can give Homicide his flowers, it's Ricky, man. Ricky is underground. That's why Ricky knows best, ladies and gentlemen.
And that goes back to what I was saying. Like, Homicide, like he never had to be pushed by the machine known as WWE to like really like get his name out there. Like the dude is as popular as I would say anybody in WWE, and he's never had to be backed by them. You know what I mean? So shout out to him. And I wouldn't necessarily say this is like a permanent retirement because like we've seen look at Edge or Adam Copeland. Like he was told if he took one more bad bump he'd end up in a wheelchair. He's been back for almost 5 years now. So like I don't want to say it's like a permanent thing, but for the time being it's got to be like this. So shout out to him. And you know what? If you guys don't know Homicide, and I don't know him that well, besides like what he did with TNA back in the day. Search up some of his matches and, just do yourself that one favor. If you're going to do anything, you're going to be watching TV. I know TNA posts a lot of like old matches and old shows or whatever from back in that era on their YouTube channel. Just search it up.
All right, well, moving on now to our next weekly news and rumors. Mariah May might be leaving AEW. According to Fightful, those spoken in AEW believe that Mariah May is in a contract year, and her contract is set to expire sometime this summer. Should AEW re-sign Mariah?
I think they'd be idiots if they didn't. But I mean, if she wanted to explore other options, I would say go for it. I honestly feel like with Stephanie McCurr, Julia, Kalani Jordan, Jada Parker, like I feel like Mariah May would kill it in NXT. To be perfectly honest, Zaria's there. Like I feel like if NXT got Mariah May, they would legitimately have the best women's division in the entire pro wrestling space. And that's just
so before I share my thoughts on this, the reason why there's a lot of speculation that she could let her contract expire and go to WWE is because of an old tweet that she had back in 2018. Her hugging like some type of like pole that had like Triple H on it, like advertising WrestleMania in New Orleans. So that's why there's a lot of speculation there that she could end up going to WWE, especially because a lot of the Stardom women wrestlers, like we've seen some go to AEW, but we've also seen plenty of them go to WWE, like Julia and Stephanie and other ones as well.
The way I see it is AEW is always going to be there, but you're only this young for so long, and you gotta go. You gotta make the bag. You know what I mean? So I would say pick whatever company is gonna pay you the most money. Because you're, especially in the world of pro wrestling, like you can only go for so many years. You have a deadline, regardless of what that deadline is. Everybody in pro wrestling has a deadline. So while you're as young as she is currently, you got to do everything you can to make that bag and to make that money. So, whether it's AEW, WWE, go to whatever company, even TNA, go to whatever company is going to pay you the most money and just fucking enjoy the ride.
So when it comes to Mariah May, my thoughts on this, because you will never hear me say a bad thing about Mariah or Tony Storm after that story
They're
that
the best
they told.
in AEW in fucking
My
years.
God. Mariah May, they have done such a great job at building her as one of the biggest heels in their women's division. And, I think Tony Storm really elevated her to the next level. And honestly, I hope that she does re-sign with AEW. I think WWE right now, their women's division is very stacked. They keep signing top free agents, and there's only so much TV time. NXT doesn't need Mariah May right now. WWE, the main roster, yeah, of course, they could always use somebody talented like Mariah, but they don't need that because they have so many other women that they can rely on. Mariah May, in my opinion, she is a great heel. One of the best heels right now in professional wrestling, men and women. And I think that she is too ruthless as a heel that it's not going to work in WWE because she's not going to be able to slap her mother in the face in the crowd. She's not going to be able to get color. And, that's one of the reasons why, she's been able to work so well as a heel in AEW is because the edgy side, the edgy content that you get.
Yep.
Her using Tony Storm's high heel and making her bleed. That's what makes her such a villain. People do not like her. And I think AEW, they lack that character department where I think having somebody like Mariah May is only going to benefit your baby faces in your women's division. And I think they cannot lose her. I think that they need to give her that max contract 5 years. Get it signed.
Yeah, and I will say, I feel like at this stage, Tony Khan kind of knows what he has in her, so he'd be kind of an idiot to let her go, whatever. But do you think it'd be wait,
real quick? I just want to say this: if there's anybody that is untouchable, you cannot trade, you cannot let go of in your women's division, it's Tony Storm and Mariah May, and also Chris Statlander.
100%. But do you so with MJF, and I do want to say this because I'm gonna sort of tie it in. MJF signed a 5-year deal. So if Mariah May ends up signing a 5-year deal, their deals will roughly end about the same. Would that be a blow to AEW if both MJF and Mariah May left around the same time?
Well, yes and no. The reason why I say that is because yes, they both are AEW's top stars.
Yep.
MJF, longest reigning AEW World Champion. Mariah May, best women's storyline in AEW. But I will say this, maybe by then, there might be another bigger star. You never know, because there's new wrestlers come in, and there's old wrestlers that come out. So you never really know. And I think Mariah May, just like MJF, she's very young, and that's why I think it doesn't hurt her to sign an extension with AEW. Let these WWE women compete right now, because 5 years from now, Mariah's going to put herself in a way better position when she gets more reps in, and when the 5 years is up, there's going to be a perfect spot waiting for her on the main roster, and she's going to become an established star.
Yeah.
So I think that she does need a re-sign. I think it would be
say,
stupid for her to go to NXT and then what? You get lost in the shuffle because your friends at Stardom are taking your TV time. Right now, the AEW Women's Division, they would have her on television, and they've done a great job. Since she got signed to AEW last year, they have made her an established star.
See, my issue is it doesn't seem like Tony Khan really appreciates the women's division. He doesn't really put a lot of effort into them. Besides Tony Storm and Mariah May, you barely who else do you have? That's a big star. You know what I mean? So you could probably use Mariah May to elevate talent, put other talent over or whatever. But will that benefit her in any way?
I think so. because you could also build her back up to the AEW Women's World Championship, or maybe when they decide that Mercedes Moné is going to focus on the AEW World title, you have an open spot at that TBS title, and I think that she could make that title very relevant.
Whatever happened to Camille, she went on an interview and she complimented WWE, and Tony Khan took her off TV.
Yeah, pretty much. But I do agree here with Alex Johnson here. No matter if she stays in AEW or goes to WWE, she'll get a fat paycheck. I agree. 1,000%. And that's why, like, AEW, man, sometimes is the right choice for these wrestlers. You go to AEW, you get paid, and pretty much you build some stock up, and then WWE, they're going to give you a fatter contract a couple years later than you would have gotten previously. So that's why AEW, it's a good thing. But moving on now to some good news now. We got lots of WWE Legends / nostalgia deals announced. Royce Adams, Crush's son, announced that he and his mother have signed a WWE Legends deal for his father, Crush. And Mark Henry announced recently at a show that he signed a new WWE Legends deal. What's your thoughts on this?
I think it's phenomenal, and like, you know, Crush, obviously I would imagine he passed away. I wasn't like, he was before my time, whatever. I didn't really start watching pro wrestling until 97 or whatever. But I kind of like that, because like these guys, like, they paved the way for what we see today, and I feel like this is Triple H's way of giving back and saying thank you. And like, because I can imagine, like, being a pro wrestler nowadays is a lot different than it was back then. Like, back then, like, you know, unless you were like Hogan or somebody, like, you weren't making, you know, millions and millions of dollars a year. You know what I mean? So I feel like, in a way, this is Triple H pretty much showing his, you know, gratitude and his appreciation by, you know, because, you know, they're going to end up licensing merchandise. All that money is going to go to the family. So, like, it's his way of, like, being like, thank you for, you know, allowing, you know, Crush to, you know, to be a part of the family or whatever, even if he has passed on or whatever. It's a great way to take care of the family, you know, because I could imagine they're not financially well off, as if, like, it's not like a Roman Reigns today. Roman Reigns probably making almost 20 million. Like, it wasn't like that back in the day, you know.
And that's why, like, for me, whenever it comes, like, down to, like, WWE Legend deals and nostalgia deals, I'm all for it. Because these wrestlers in the past, they didn't really get paid a lot of money doing what they love, just like you said.
If you weren't booked, you didn't get paid.
And especially now with Demolition getting signed to Legend deals, which we talked about a few weeks ago on the show.
Yep.
Adding Crush to it, great move. And my mom and I, we would always go to Blockbuster, and that's why I was very familiar with Kona Crush. And big fan of his work during his time. I think he was one of the more underrated big men in the WWE. And the thing is, like, I'm all for this as well, because Matt Cardona talks about this all the time on the Major Wrestling Figure podcast. Like, when you go to these wrestling conventions like Big Event New York, or you go to these Comic-Cons, you do have these professional wrestlers, and a lot of the times, they don't have anything to sign except for an 8x10. Like this here for Ben. Yep. But that's the thing, though. Like, they don't really have a lot of things to sign. And Bubba Ray Dudley said it on Busted Open Radio multiple times. Like, the reason he signed that WWE Legends deal, Matt Cardona convinced him, because of all the merchandising. Because you don't really get a big paycheck from being, like, a part of the Legends deal. You just get recognized, you get merch on WWE Shop, you get to be in the video games, the 2Ks, trading cards, and you get to have action figures. So, like, Matt Cardona has said it, like, that's one thing I do agree with, like, having these Legends deals, like, now Crush, like, he's going to finally get some new figures. And the last time he's had a good figure was back in, like, early 2000s.
Even, like, being in the video game, though, because, like, you know, I watch, like, Maven's channel. I watch
get paid good.
Eugene has a channel or whatever. And, like, I've always heard that being in one of the WWE video games, that's usually, like, the biggest check besides WrestleMania. Like, that's like the biggest royalty check that they get. So even Crush, you know, being in one of the 2K games, as popular as they are and as big of a franchise as it is, and the fact that a new game comes out every year, like, they're gonna be very well off, I feel like.
And for me, man, as a wrestling figure collector, very excited to finally get some updated Mark Henrys. Give me a sexual chocolate figure that's freaking articulated, like with like real true effects. Like, man,
Bro,
I'm excited for Henry.
we need a double pack. We need a Mae Young, Mark Henry, and a hand figure set.
The hand.
Bro, we need that, man.
Here, look, I got a little hand. I have a bunch of these on my desk for when I'm doing figure reviews. The hand. Make sure it's open palm too. But but yeah, no, congratulations to Crush and Mark Henry on getting these deals. I am all for legends getting their respect, getting their flowers, and just getting recognized by the newer generation.
Yeah.
And I'm excited, like, especially for Crush, because a lot of people don't know, like, who he is, like, if you're a newer fan, and he's somebody that was really good for his time.
I feel like the video
never
game
had the right opportunity.
It's a good thing of that, because you see him in the video game, and that makes you want to go down the rabbit hole. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like a kid, they see the name Crush, like, ooh, I want to be Crush. Like, it's perfect.
Bro, back in the day, Crush was just like the most typical pro wrestling name on the planet. Like, you know, you hear somebody called Crush, and you're like, oh, you're gonna be a pro wrestler? You know, it just has the whole, you know, gimmick to it.
Yeah, absolutely. But moving on now to our next weekly news and rumors, AEW might be unifying a title. According to Fightful, AEW has discussed the possibilities of unifying the International and Continental Championships. What's your thoughts on this?
I mean, I've heard that this was gonna happen for a while. I feel like it's needed because I feel like AEW has way too many titles and not enough contenders, if that makes sense. Like, they're starting to bring over, like, you know, a random Japanese wrestler from fucking New Japan, you know, that, you know, you only see once every, you know, 6 months or whatever, once every year. They're in the main event now. You know, so as far as like homegrown talent, you know, vying for championships, I feel like they have more titles than they do contenders. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I have heard that people are like, they don't want it to be called like the AEW Intercontinental title because people think it's going to be a blatant ripoff of WWE.
No, that can't happen. No. But I do want to pull this comment up, even though like I have this is pretty funny. Dan Edwards, I thought you guys were talking about orange soda at first. Crush.
Bro, what are we, Keenan and Kel? Oh,
but,
bro, did you hear that guy from the Good Burger died? This is way off topic.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's fucking sad, bro.
He was like the villain, right, in the movie?
Yeah, he was the owner of the Mondo Burger or whatever.
Yeah, Mondo Burger, yeah. But my thoughts on the whole like unifying like the championships and stuff. I was never a fan of the Continental Championship. Like, I like the Continental Classic because like it's during a perfect time where like we're kind of like enjoying the holidays, so like you just get solid good wrestling matches for like Dynamite and Collision. I like the whole Continental Classic, but why did we need to have a championship? That's like the only thing I wasn't a fan of. That's why I'm kind of happy that they are unifying the championships, because I think the international title has been a huge asset for AEW. They have done a great job making that championship very prestigious. I'm more invested in the international championship than I am the TNT title. Probably the second title behind, well, the third title behind the AEW Women's World title and the AEW World Championship that I'm invested in. So honestly, I cannot wait for this moment. And honestly, perfect timing. AEW All In, Okada versus Omega. There you go. Unify the titles, but let's forget that we had the Continental and just call it International Championship.
Yep.
So that's what I think of it. But moving on now to our next weekly news and rumors. We got a Goldberg retirement update. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, the original plan for Goldberg's last match is to be against Gunter, likely after Gunter drops the title. Do you think Gunter is the right person to retire Goldberg?
I feel like that's a better choice than the original plan, which was, I heard, was Braun Breaker. I'm actually okay with it for the simple fact that one, Gunther has that like old school style. He doesn't look like your typical like, wrestler in 2025. You know what I mean? He's very old school, and like you could tell like he was like a massive fan of like the 80s and early 90s or whatever. So he's just got that whole demeanor and that whole look and the whole gimmick or whatever. Everything from his tights to like, the way he wrestles, like he's a very methodical wrestler. You know, Goldberg, I can't imagine is as fast as he was 25 years ago, whatever. So like, if he was against somebody like Braun Breaker, I mean, the guy that runs the ropes at 20 miles an hour, I mean, he'd probably have a difficult time really like, putting a lot into that match. But I feel like Gunther is a better choice than, anybody else in WWE that they could have picked. You know what I mean? And the fact that it's not going to be for a title, and I hope it's not a main event, I wouldn't take a main event spot. I would say it's going to be at SummerSlam, probably on night one if I really had to guess, because he said it was going to be during the summer. So I'm okay with it, more so than I previously was, but I'm okay with it. Gunther's a great choice, I feel like.
I will say this, at first, I was just, at first, like, when Goldberg's retirement, like, was being talked about, I did agree with, Dan Edwards here. Like, Breaker would be a better opponent. But now, thinking about it a couple months later, I think that Gunther is the right choice, because I feel like with Breaker, he works a faster pace. And I think Goldberg, working with somebody like Goldberg, who is very well known for his botches and only doing 2 moves, I don't think that that's going to do any favors. Yes, Goldberg giving Breaker the rub would be better than Gunther having it. But at the same time, I think if you want to go out with a bang and like to really end your career off the right way, which I know Goldberg is very passionate about, he said it on multiple interviews, working with a guy like Gunther, best choice. Gunther works strong style, which I think could work with Goldberg, having that slower pace match, because I know Goldberg's even talked about how like he's been having like back issues and stuff. He's been doing like stem cell treatments and stuff. Yep. So like I think that Gunther versus Goldberg could work, and they can have a solid match, and they could drag it on to being a solid 10-minute match, because Gunther can work that slow pace with the chops and like the submissions and stuff. Yep. So like I think Breaker like could benefit more from the rub. But I think Gunther, after losing the championship, beating Goldberg,
I don't know if
that could make Gunther look good again, get him back on track.
I just feel like Braun Breaker, like he would have a very hard time working a slower pace, like because he's just so like he's so intense, and like he's just so like like he'll run at you 100 miles an hour, like, and I just don't feel like that'll be a good showcase for Goldberg. I mean, the dude's what, late 50s, early 60s. Like he's not as fast as he was back in WCW. You know what I mean? So you got to pair him up with somebody that works a very similar style, and I feel like Gunther's like the perfect choice.
Yeah, and I feel like Gunther like will give him a better match than Breaker, and that's not discrediting anything Breaker does. It's just you have to look at it from like a matchmaking
Breaker
standpoint.
Is too good. I'll just say that Breaker is too good.
Too good. But, Dan Edwards. What about Braun Strowman? Similar wrestling styles? Nah, we already got that in the Thunderdome.
No, because they're gonna want Braun Breaker, or they're gonna want Goldberg to do the fucking jackhammer, and at his age, it's gonna be very hard to get somebody like Braun Strowman up for that.
But also, too, like, even the little tease that we got back in Atlanta with Gunther and Goldberg, like, there was something there. Yep. And I think that, like, they really... Like, this would be the best way for Goldberg to go out.
And I feel like the match is gonna
safely.
Maybe it's not gonna be at SummerSlam, because I feel like that match would have to be in like Atlanta or something, right? I mean,
yeah, I was gonna say I think Goldberg's gonna probably want to retire in Atlanta, because I know he's very passionate about that.
That's where he got to start, and that's where he lived. I mean, he lives in Texas now, I think, but like he's from Atlanta, I think.
Yeah, so, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. I know. We'll probably get more things going on. Probably after WrestleMania, we'll find out what's going on.
We'll start seeing, the ball rolling or whatever. I don't put too much stock in it. It's going to be a harmless match. It's not going to be for a title. It shouldn't be like taking a main event spot from anybody. Let them go out there. Let Goldberg put Gunther over. You never know. Maybe Gunther will become a bigger star because of it. I mean,
and that's the thing, too. I'm not the biggest fan of Goldberg, but I feel like every professional wrestler, no matter who you are, I feel like you should be able to, when you want to hang the boots up, you should be able to make that decision and to have that final match to close that chapter in your life. So I think, Goldberg doing that, ending his career off the right way, I'm okay with it. I know there's some people that aren't big fans of Goldberg in 2025, but just let the man have his final match and end his career. And then he can enjoy the fruits of his labor after that.
Exactly.
But moving on now to, speaking of celebrating with fruits and labor, this is going to be a good segue. AEW Dynamite Spring Breakthrough is officially announced for April 16th next month for Boston. Tony Schiavone just said it's going to be the episode where Dynamite becomes the longest running primetime weekly wrestling show on Turner Network. What's your thoughts about this?
I mean,
AEW superstars right now are enjoying every second of this.
I know. I heard that Eric Bischoff is fucking on the verge of fucking having a nervous breakdown because of it. Okay, cool. What else? As long as you're on TV and for a certain amount of time, you're gonna break that record. So it's not like it's it's not like some kind of monumentous occasion. I don't think so. You kind of forget how long Nitro was actually around. You see WCW Nitro and you're like, oh, that shit was around for 20 years. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, that's the thing that's kind of crazy is AEW, Dynamite's gonna surpass Nitro. That's kind of crazy.
Wild to me.
That is crazy, dude.
Besides Nitro, I didn't know what WCW was beforehand. I only know WCW Nitro.
That's the thing, though. Honestly, good for AEW, continuing to, be successful. Because obviously, right now in 2025, there is more places for professional wrestling. While in, 2001, they're really, a lot of networks weren't really looking for wrestling. Which is why, it's all about timing. I always say this on the podcast. In professional wrestling, timing is everything. And that's why, with Nitro, it just didn't work out. Also, they did have somebody who wasn't passionate about pro wrestling. He just wanted to beat Vince McMahon. Tony Khan is passionate about professional wrestling, and that's why he has surpassed friggin' Turner and WCW.
Shout out to Eric Bischoff because this is where I actually heard this. He says pro wrestling for the most part, it already has a built-in audience, and it's relatively easy to produce and inexpensive compared to if you make a sitcom or whatever, or any kind of drama show or whatever like that. Pro wrestling for the most part, it's inexpensive. It has a built-in audience. It's the easiest thing to produce on television. I feel besides maybe basketball or the NFL. So. The fact that this is actually happening is not surprising because I remember they were talking about this shit fucking 3 years ago.
They were. And, honestly, can't even be mad at AEW for branding this because people are talking about it, obviously. And AEW usually does that. If they have a big signing or something big is going to happen or they're doing something for a good cause, they always do a special. It's always happened since the very beginning. Them opening the doors. They have always done it, whether it was Fight for the Fallen, giving back to those in need. Friggin' the whole Blood and Guts, building around the Blood and Guts match, which is their War Games. To now, with Big Business, Mercedes Moné making her AEW debut. They did a whole special. And to now do the Spring Breakthrough, great decision. And I can't forget CM Punk, the first dance.
Yep. I feel my only complaint about it is the fact that it's in Boston, and with a show called Spring Breakthrough, it would have been dope if they rented out a beach somewhere in Florida, set up the ring there, and did
Yes.
it there, because I remember didn't they WCW Spring Break back in the day, I
Yep.
remember seeing a show to where they had a ring set up on a beach or whatever.
My
and
God, dude,
in Daytona, Florida or
that's like
something.
one thing I will say I miss so much about WCW because I do go back in time and I watch a lot of it. I miss the settings that they used to have with their shows, man. Even with one of their motorcycle themed pay-per-views. They would just put the freaking ring in the middle of the road with people just pulling up in their motorcycles, dude. Nitro, WCW, dude, they were the best when it came
They're
to
very
the
underrated.
settings, dude. And
They're very
AEW,
underrated.
even doing the Dynamite special on the Jericho Cruise, I thought that was so fucking cool.
Bro, I have not seen that yet. I have no idea where I can watch it. I don't
I'm
think
sure
they
you can watch it
broadcasted
on
it
Max.
live, did they?
Yeah, they did it live.
They did it live on the cruise?
They did it live on the cruise, dude.
I thought they pre-recorded it and fucking had it on Max or on TBS.
If somebody in the live chat,
live.
if you want to correct me, I believe it was live. Because I remember seeing the live on there. But I'm sure it's on Max somewhere. I'm sure you'll be able to find it, whether it's highlights or whatever it is. But that's the thing, dude. I love the settings and stuff. I wish it was in more of a beachy area. I do agree with you on that. And I am kind of mad I missed out on them tickets. Which I do have a lot of AEW shows
already.
coming up. No, it's not sold out, but obviously people buy the tickets first day when they go on sale and then they resell for double the amount of money.
Yeah.
Which, of course, I'm going to Collision in Boston with Dan the next day. But Dynamite won't be able to. So I'm going to be going to 2 Collisions in April. Which I can't wait.
April 12th, we're going.
Yep, Springfield, Mass, man. Cannot wait for that.
So April 12th, make sure you guys all watch HBO Max or TNT.
Yeah, let's get AEW Collision ratings up just because We Are Wrestling is going to be in there.
Bro, we got to make a big ass We Are Wrestling sign with
we're going
with
to.
all 3 of our faces on it.
We're at camera, you can see us on the camera, where we are, so we're going to have to do something.
I'll be wearing this hat more than likely, so look for me.
I'll be decked out We Are Wrestling merch that you can get on ProWrestlingTees.com. Moving on now to our next weekly news and rumors. Here we go. Let's get back into some WWE stuff, some Hall of Fame stuff. According to Fightful, WWE is planning to make over tours, if they hadn't already, about having Sting induct Lex Luger into the WWE Hall of Fame. Luger and those close to him did inform WWE that Sting would be the preference choice to induct him. It's worth noting, Sting has told people he probably wouldn't be able to do that because of his AEW deal. What's your thoughts on this?
I think it'll happen, and I feel like Lex Luger, he's done a lot of rebuilding, and he wasn't that good of a person back in the day or whatever, but ever since his accident or whatever, he's really did everything he could to really rebuild, a lot of relationships that he previously lost or whatever. It's gonna be a monumental moment. I mean, he's starting to walk again. Fucking Diamond Dallas Page is a miracle worker. Give that guy, I guarantee you, give that guy 6 months, he'll be able to find the cure for cancer. I heard that Sting is gonna be doing a signing or something in Vegas during that time. So
yep, WrestleCon.
It's not out of the realm of possibility, and I don't feel like this will hinder. It won't up ticket sales for WWE, and it won't hinder anything that AEW has going on. One, Sting is, yes, he's signed to AEW, but he's not an active roster member. He's not going to be in a match. He's not going to be doing a promo. He's going to be at the Hall of Fame ceremony. It's not like he's going to be on Raw or SmackDown or even WrestleMania itself. And I feel like Tony Khan is a massive wrestling fan. Like you were saying earlier. I can't imagine the amount of love and admiration he has for Lex Luger as well as Diamond Dallas Page. And I do feel like he's gonna try everything in his power to make this happen. and it's gonna get him bad. Like he's been getting a lot of bad publicity. I feel like if he does this, people will be like, all right, maybe TK is not that bad of a guy. Obviously, I do think that WWE would, in a way, have to acknowledge the fact that Sting is part of AEW in a way, which I don't think is a bad thing. It's not like it's because WWE would want the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but here's the thing. I feel like if Sting doesn't show up at the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony this year, it's going to 1000% be WWE's fault why that doesn't happen. Just like WWE, during Sting's retirement match, didn't allow the people that were under Legends deals to be seen on television.
Yeah, but they allowed him to go.
They allowed him to go, but they weren't allowed to be seen on television or really even talk about it.
Would that have really fucking, done anything for fucking ticket sales or fucking UC Lex Luger and Sting?
Yeah, but still, it would have been cool to like actually see like Sting acknowledge him during the match. Like that would have been cool. But like
I remember seeing some photos of Lex Luger, like he was like sitting in like front row or something, like by the timekeepers area.
Yeah, but they weren't allowed to show him. And that's the thing that's so unfortunate about like the tribalism, especially in 2025. It's not going to be AEW's fault. It's not going to be WWE's fault. It's going to be the IWC's fault why this doesn't happen, which is fucking bullshit. Because I think that AEW and WWE, they need to sit down and come up with something. Because I remember this was in 2012 or 2011. I think it was 2012, where TNA Wrestling, they were competing against WWE. But WWE wanted to induct the Four Horsemen into the Hall of Fame. But Ric Flair at the time was signed to a TNA deal. So then they did some negotiations, and they made a deal. And Christian Cage at the time, who's working for WWE, was able to make an appearance at TNA Slammiversary. Yes, this was 2012 because it was 10 years they were celebrating. And with Christian, he came out and cut a really cool promo. Ric Flair was able to go to the Hall of Fame ceremony with the Four Horsemen, and both companies won. And I feel like there's something that AEW can definitely benefit from, and they can make some type of deal. Like if Sting does the induction for this, we can have maybe Cody show up and maybe cut a promo on like the anniversary show or something. I'm not saying that exactly, but they could do something that can benefit both parties. And that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think WWE is going to be able to make a deal with AEW because I think that they're like, AEW's the enemy. WWE does not give a fuck.
Here's the thing I'm going to say, okay? I don't think Tony Khan will say yes for WWE. I think he has such love and admiration for Lex Luger. I think he'll say yes for him. Because you remember, that is like, you only get one Hall of Fame induction. That is, Tony Khan knows. But you see, that's why history between him and Sting. Like, I don't feel like he has any other choice but to say yes.
But you see, that's why, like, I know that if Sting does not show up at the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony and he's not inducting Lex Luger, there's no way in my mind I can believe that it's Tony Khan's fault why this didn't happen. Because Tony Khan, just like us, is a die-hard professional wrestling fan. He's a mark, like us. We have a whole podcast where we talk about professional wrestling. We are marks, just like Tony Khan. And I know Tony Khan would want to see, because Sting and him have a very close relationship. So you know Tony Khan would want Sting to be there for his best friend.
Yep.
Especially if you listen to Lex Luger's interview on Chris Van Vliet's podcast.
Oh, such a
Sting and Lex, very, very close. And the reason why Lex found God was because of Sting. Sting for years was trying to tell like Lex to find faith.
I do want to say this, and this is going to be definitely off topic or whatever. But I encourage every single one of you guys in this chat, as well as you, that you need to go and watch the Chris Van Vliet Lillian Garcia interview, because bro, when I tell you, like, she talks about a lot of deep stuff, like, I had no idea. I definitely, like, Chris Van Vliet is the fucking GOAT of wrestling interviews or whatever. But I just want to say that quickly or whatever, because you had mentioned him. I 100% think Sting is going to be there. And I don't think TK is going to say yes for WWE. He's going to say yes out of love for Lex Luger, because he grew up like us. He grew up a wrestling fan. He had fucking pictures of fucking Sting and Lex Luger on his fucking bedroom wall. This for a 100% guaranteed fact. He used to play with the Lex Luger fucking action figures. So I definitely think Sting is going to be there. But what I would do is I wouldn't even announce it beforehand. I would just, like, it's going to be all speculation. Like, who's going to, like, nobody knows who's going to induct him. And then you hear fucking Sting's, like, WCW theme or whatever.
I agree. And I think the only thing AEW should really try to get out of this is, like, at least, like, let him acknowledge that, like, he's a part of AEW. And, like,
even if they have
a
graphic with the AEW,
I don't even think Tony Khan's gonna care, like,
Yeah.
what benefits AEW. I think that he
They
knows his good buddy Sting's gonna want to be there for his best friend Lex, and I think that he's gonna try everything in his power to make it happen. But it's gonna be TKO and WWE that stops it.
I feel like everybody forgot that this isn't gonna be the first time that WWE and AEW work together.
Ooh,
Because
that's a good
WWE
point.
has contacted AEW, and AEW has allowed Chris Jericho to make a video that showed up on Monday Night Raw.
Oh, on Big Show
Out of
too, right?
respect for, I believe it was either John Cena. Yeah, John Cena, I think. You know what I mean? So it's like, this isn't like the first time.
Also, one of your subscribers here makes a very valid point here. If Michael Cole was allowed to recognize on WWE TV Sting's last match in AEW, then Sting can show up in the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony for Lex.
Exactly. They talked about it on
think about
commentary. I think the Monday night after
his last
Revolution.
match. Yeah.
They
I remember
talked-
that. Which I thought that was a really nice gesture. That was nice.
Even Pat McAfee was like, "Yeah, congratulations to Sting. I heard they had a great turnout last night." Like, it got acknowledged. You know what I mean?
Which is always a good thing.
It
needs to happen.
If this was a Vince McMahon show, I would be like, yeah, 100% no. But I feel like Triple H and Tony Khan are very similar in a lot of ways that people just don't quite understand.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, too. You have to understand. It would be more possible back in the day because TKO's the ones that are running WWE right now. And they might look at it like, oh, if we put Sting here, like, they're going to get more eyes on AEW again. Even though, like, obviously we know that that's not the case. But, like, TKO is looking at it because AEW is their competition. That's why I'm saying, like, if Sting does not show up, dude, it's TKO and WWE's fault. That's all I got to say.
I feel like TKO, yes, they own WWE, but I feel like they have all the faith in the world in Triple H and his abilities. So if Triple H said he wanted to do this, I don't think Ari Emanuel or anybody in TKO would be like, no. I don't see that happening.
I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see. But speaking of the WWE Hall of Fame, the natural disasters, earthquake and typhoon, will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2025. What's your thoughts on this?
Again, they were way before my time. Obviously, what was it? Earthquake? I believe he was Golga in the Oddities back in the Attitude Era or whatever. He passed away in 2007, I believe. So shout out to him. I did watch Typhoon's video. He posted I saw a video on social media and he posted whatever. And he was thanking the WWE fans or whatever, and he was thanking Triple H, and he was talking about how much he misses Tetra is his name, John Tetra, I believe. Earthquake.
Yep, Earthquake was John. Yep.
Right. John Tetra, I believe his name is. So it was a very heartwarming video, and like I'm all for people getting their flowers. Like so often, people don't get recognized and don't get their flowers until after they passed away. And it's like, if you're gonna recognize somebody and if you're gonna appreciate somebody, like appreciate them while they can enjoy it. Don't wait until they're gone. And like it seems like we have less and less legends every single year because like we just had the Wild Simones, like they both passed, a couple months apart or whatever,
Yeah, Alpha and
last
Sika.
year. So if you're gonna recognize them while they're here to appreciate it, and don't wait because tomorrow's not promised to anybody. And so I'm really happy that John can't be here to accept it and really get acknowledged in a physical form. But I'm pretty sure Typhoon is he's gonna make that entire speech like all about his friendship with.
Oh
with
my God, dude!
Earthquake.
If there's anybody that is going to acknowledge John Earthquake and what he's done in his career, there's no better person than Fred, who's the guy that
Fred
was
Ottman, I believe his name is.
Yep,
So shout
Fred
out to him.
Otterman. He was the one who played the characters Typhoon, Shockmaster, and man, Natural Disasters, long overdue. I am an old school wrestling fan, so I have gone back and watched a lot of their stuff. Very good for their time, very good for their size, and they really opened up the door for guys like Bronson Reed and a lot of these other bigger stars that are very athletic for their weight. And man, like this is long overdue. Like I've gotten the opportunity to meet Typhoon back at the Eastfield Mall back in 2017. And one of the nicest legends in the business. Like if you ever go to like a wrestling convention, if you ever get the opportunity to go talk to Typhoon, highly recommend it, highly encourage it. And honestly, like Earthquake, Typhoon, they absolutely deserve this. And really, like I said this, like even with like the last inductee, like man, the 2025 Hall of Fame is like becoming one of my favorite classes.
Exactly.
Like I feel like it's just such a great, diverse group of individuals.
I
And
do
especially
hope,
with some of the speculations that we're getting on some of the names that might be in this Hall of Fame too, has
I
me
do
really
hope-
excited.
I do hope that during this Hall of Fame induction that Fred Ottman will be like obviously doing the talking or whatever. But I hope they have a picture of John in the like on the big screen
Oh, they
or whatever
will.
behind him.
They usually do that, I feel like. But man, congratulations, long overdue, and can't wait to find out who's next to be inducted because this class is looking very good.
I feel like we're gonna have to have a couple more within the net. We only have a couple more weeks till Mania or whatever, and they're gonna have to finalize everything. They're gonna have to book plane tickets or whatever. So we're gonna get some more over the next week or so, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so too. And there's already speculations on a bunch of different names. Like I know Ken Shamrock, Sid Justice is one of them. So like there's some names that are being thrown around, but we're just gonna have to wait
Ken
and see.
Shamrock, I would say he should go in. I didn't know this, but Ken Shamrock was very instrumental in having the tap out method whenever somebody's in the submission hold back in the day. Like I didn't know that.
Man,
You
Ken
know?
Shamrock, fucking love him. One of my favorites during the Attitude
And
Era.
that dude's been through some shit. Like, he grew up an orphan, like, he was adopted by, a family or whatever, and his adopted mom died and he was raised by, his adopted father or whatever. And, he pretty much grew up on the streets and, trying to hustle, whatever, to make ends meet. Like that dude has seen some shit, you know what I mean? So it'd be cool to see him get recognized, for what he's done in the world of pro wrestling. Because like if it wasn't for him, I don't know if we'd have guys like Kurt Angle and guys like guys of like that work that very similar style. You know what I mean?
Hey, Ken Shamrock was the one that started the ankle lock.
100%.
But,
And
moving on now to our last We Are Wrestling weekly news and rumors. TNA is cutting more behind the scene people. According to Fightful, TNA has sent out an email saying that Gail Kim, Ariel, Rob, and Michael are leaving the company. And of course, the notable name is Gail Kim. What's your thoughts on Gail Kim being let go by TNA?
I think this is a horrible move. Yeah, I thought it was horrible when they let go Scott D'Amore, and it's horrible now when they're letting go Gail Kim. Gail Kim is very instrumental in as to why the female division TNA is so fluid. You know what I mean? And she'll be an asset to any company she goes to, whether it's she goes to New Japan, whether she goes to AEW, whether she goes to WWE. You know what I mean? Like I feel like AEW and WWE, whatever company she chooses to go to, I feel like they're gonna benefit from her being there to really coach the women and to really like be a driving force to drive the women's division, put the women's division where it needs to be in whatever company she decides to go to.
I said it immediately on social media. If I'm AEW or WWE, I have Gail Kim's number on speed dial, and I am calling her up immediately, and I'm offering her a fat fucking contract because what she has done behind the scenes for the TNA Knockouts division has been instrumental, and one of the bigger reasons why TNA is in the position that they're in right now during this rebuild. And like she has really like opened up the doors and really has brought out the best in these knockouts. One of the notable names, Jordan Grace. You know where she learned everything? Gail Kim, because she was the one behind the scenes. Masha Slamovich, the current TNA Knockouts champion. She's learned everything from Gail Kim. And especially having Gail Kim, like, having her, like, have a say when it comes to, like, the storylines and, like, the knockouts and, like, the women's storylines. Like, having that perspective from, like, a woman, a legend. The first TNA Knockouts champion was Gail Kim. And having her influence in your storylines and stuff when it comes to the women, it works. Because, like, you're gonna get a different perception. And I think, like, if I'm WWE, man, like, especially with their main roster, with the way that they're booking their women, they could use somebody like Gail Kim to really influence, like, the next generation of talented women, because they have it all over the place, from legends featuring greats, to the Performance Center, to these next in line deals, to the people that they're signing, these free agents. They have the talent, they have the stars. They just need to get somebody like Gail Kim in that creative room and just let her cook, because what she did with TNA, especially with a lot of unknown, not unestablished stars, she was able to make stars out of them. And that takes a lot of talent to do.
Exactly, and like I've been saying for a long time, like you have Tony Khan and Triple H, like booking creative for the women or whatever. Like who knows a female better than another female? Get somebody like Gail Kim in there to really like see what these women got. Right? Do some creative pitches for them. I feel like she'd be able to like flip the women's division up on their heads and really like drive the nail home that the women in WWE or AEW, whatever company she decides to go to, is going to be a force to be reckoned with. And Tony Khan likes to book a certain way, Triple H likes to book a certain way, whatever, especially when it comes to the women. Gail Kim, she won't put up with that shit. She's going to be all about the women and like making them a major priority on the show, which I think needs to happen.
So here's my prediction when it comes to Gail Kim. I think that if she does decide that like she still wants to be a coach or like a producer, I think that she probably will end up signing with AEW realistically, because like, yes, they do have Toni Storm, they have Mariah May, they have Mercedes Moné, they have Athena over in Ring of Honor, but besides that, they need that help from Gail Kim. More than WWE needing that help, because NXT, they have a very stacked women's division. But now, if she decides to go to WWE, I don't think it's going to be a producer or a coach role. I think that she's probably going to end up signing a Nostalgia Legends deal and just go to conventions and just be a legend, which is also okay because she has paid her dues in the business, like in and out the ring.
But I feel like
I hope that, like, I will say, like, if I were to pick for Gail Kim where I would want her to go, WWE or AEW, I would want her to go to WWE for the simple fact that AEW, they probably won't really use her influence, really.
Exactly. Like what happened to that woman that Mercedes Moné brought in to book creative for her. I feel like, here's what I'm going to say. I definitely understand your point, But I feel like if Gail Kim didn't want to be in an active role, she would have left a while ago. You know, like this just got announced today. I don't feel like she wants to be done, but it just sort of feels like TNA is forcing her hand. So I mean, if she did wanna, I really honestly feel like the women's division that we see today would be a lot different if Gail Kim was in charge in WWE.
I agree, 1,000%.
It'd be a major priority, bro. Especially with the rumor of WWE bringing back the Evolution pay-per-view later this summer. Like,
yeah, having Gail Kim there would be huge.
She'd be very instrumental in that. You know what I mean?
Hey, because even before the Knockout Championship, she was one of the few knockouts that was signed to a TNA deal. And she was somebody who really elevated the women's wrestling, period, because of what she did in TNA. So I really do hope, like, wherever she goes, they utilize her, because right now, like, I would be having her in a meeting room as soon as possible, first class flight, right over to Stanford, and I would be offering her a big contract to help my women's division that desperately needs it.
Because WWE, they have the talent, they just don't have the creative behind it, and I feel like Gail Kim would help,
especially like with her women, like with her like a woman's perception. But a couple comments I do want to read here before we do move on to our getting put over. They are going to start making more people want to leave. I do agree with that. Angelo, Dan Edwards, what did Gail Kim do? Was her job there? Is she a coach? Technically, she was like more behind the scenes, like she was like a coach for like the knockouts. Also, had influence,
and she had influence in the creative direction of the women in TNA. Pretty much anything that was really like women centered around on the TNA show. Pretty much Gail Kim's influence in that.
Yep, exactly. And one of your subscribers here can't pronounce
Tyrus,
name.
man, my guy from Athens, Greece.
Oh, Tyrus. It's Tyrus,
he's
right?
He's one of my members.
So he said this. I also thought it was TNA's horrible move to fire Scott D'Amore. Ever since then, many important backstage scene personnels got fired, like Christy Hemme and Josh Matthews. Very true.
I don't know if Josh Matthews got fired or if he wanted to leave. That one's a little.
No, I think he was let go. But it seems like they're leaning more towards the WWE partnership because they know like WWE has those connections.
I feel like Josh Matthews is gonna go to AEW because he's married to Madison Rayne, right? I think she's signed to AEW or Ring of Honor.
Or he's just gonna chill. That could also happen too.
I've been hearing a lot of people say that TNA is having all these releases or whatever because they're prepping to sell to WWE, which I find very strange.
I could see that happening because Anthem could make a lot of money selling it.
Yeah, but I just feel like would WWE, like, that's just more WWE would have to add to their plate. You know what I mean? Is that something they want to do right now? I mean, they already have this partnership to where they can use talent. Why do they need to buy the entire fucking company?
Well, they are trying to run the world, man. That's why they're like, there's some company, like there's some promoters out there, like the independents, like GCW, the guy there, Brett. He has even like criticized like some of the things too with the WWE ID stuff, with some of the control that they have, because like they do think like WWE's trying to like build a cult here. I know. But with that being said, now let's get into our getting put over segment, where every week myself, Rage Circus, and Danny, we alternate and we pick one past, present, or future professional wrestler. And last time it was Ben's pick, and we put over Thugonomics John Cena. And of course, it's my turn. I was absent last week, and there's no format when I'm not on the show, which is why getting put over didn't happen last week. But I'm back in the driver's seat, and we are not going to miss another week as long as I'm here. And this week, I decided, let's put over always ready Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder. Somebody who I think is one of the most underrated wrestlers in this generation.
Yeah.
But the way that this works, just to let you guys know in the live chat, if you're still a part of this, the way that we do the getting put overs now, we ask you guys simple questions. Favorite title run, favorite match, favorite segment, favorite year, favorite rivalry, and one what if. So, if you want to be a part of it, you can answer the questions as we go through them. I'm going to give my answer. I'm going to give Ben's, because Ben was supposed to be here until something came up last minute, and Daddy's answer, and then we'll read your guys' comment. Yep, we are Tyrus. We're putting over both Matt Cardona and Zack Ryder. So any of these questions,
the same person.
They apply. They are the same. Well, Zack Ryder's technically dead, according to Matt Cardona, but pretty much same person. So starting things off here with the accolades, he was a one-time WWE SmackDown Tag Team Champion. He was also the Internet Champion. Also a one-time United States Champion. One-time Intercontinental Champion, which, man, what a great moment that was. Like, one of the most shocking things that ever happened at WrestleMania. Him winning that freaking ladder match. Also, a one-time Raw Tag Team Champion with his buddy, Kurt Hawkins, known as Brian Myers these days. Also, he was a one-time Impact Digital Media Champion. He is a one-time GCW World Champion. One-time NWA World Champion, 10 pounds of gold. Also, he was a one-time House of Glory World Champion. And he was also a Ocean Champion on the Jericho Cruise, one time. So, let's get into our favorite title run of Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder. So, Ben, he picked during his indie days, man, winning all the championships, holding all the gold, and I think that this was around like 2022.
Matt Cardona, bro, like he's a different beast.
Oh, absolutely. And Diddy, what's your favorite title run?
My favorite title run has to be like the one that I feel like. My favorite title run has to be, I believe when he won I can't remember if it was the US or the Intercontinental title. It was around the time, like, he wasn't getting that much showtime, and, he made that web series Long Island ISD, and he really, like, he pretty much forced WWE's hand to really, like, give him an opportunity. So, that time period or whatever. I was never, like, a massive, like, Matt Cardona or Zack Ryder fan. Like, I'm more a Matt Cardona fan than I was Zack Ryder. You know what I mean? That is me in the wheelchair running away from Kane, the big red douchebag.
Yep, he's running away because, guys, Daddy did not do his homework this week for the getting put over.
I did not.
Which is why he is wheeling away from Kane.
I mean, at least I'm not being shoved up Rikishi's ass.
Yeah, honestly, I would take the wheelchair over that. But my favorite title run has got to be the GCW World Title, because I thought that this was a defining moment for independent wrestling. Because of course, like, people do talk about the indies, but Matt Cardona, with like the power of the internet, he has done always a great job in his career, really like getting over on social media. And with GCW, he really got put over on the map when he won the championship in this moment against Nick Gage. And I think that this really saved his career.
Yep. I mean, that ring with all those beer cans remind me of like the ECW days back in the day. Remember, they would fucking just pile a bunch of trash in the ring whenever they get pissed. The audience was crazy.
He's also husband champion with Chelsea Green. Yep, he did say he was one half of the women tag champs at one point, because his wife, because he's married to her, so he owns everything that she owns. So. Also, GCW heel run was amazing. I agree with that. But I did love the title run.
Get Matt Cardona on the show sometime.
Oh man, I would love to, but I know that booking fee is definitely up there.
Oh, I'm sure we can get big enough and it'll happen someday.
Which I will actually be meeting Matt Cardona next weekend in New England Fan Fest, so I'm excited about that. Favorite match of Zack Ryder's or Matt Cardona's? Ben, he went with the NWA world title match between EC3 versus Cardona.
I love how Ben knows the most obscure matches or whatever, but he can't name one AEW match besides something that has to do with MJF.
Yep, I remember telling Ben to actually watch this match, and friggin' you loved it. Danny, your favorite match was when Alberto Del Rio buried Zack Ryder. This is what happens, guys, when you don't do your homework. You get an armbar by one of the most hated wrestlers right now. My favorite match or in all seriousness, what's your favorite match that comes to your mind with Cardona? I'll be nice to you.
I don't even know, to be honest.
Yeah,
I really liked the match that he just had recently with I think it was Joe Hendry.
Oh, on TNA, one of their first live episodes in a while.
That match was pretty good. It's the main event, the first live Impact taping in a couple years.
Tyrus, what an effing match was against Trevor Murdoch. Trevor Murdoch's had a pretty good run in NWA, low key. That doesn't get.
But I didn't
about
realize
enough.
Trevor Murdoch passed away until a couple years ago. I was searching up
What do you
whatever
mean?
happened to
Trevor
him.
Murdoch's still alive?
Or no, Harrison Cade or whatever his name is.
Lance Cade.
Yeah, Lance Cade.
So my favorite match, I have to go with TLC 2011, Zack Ryder versus Dolph Ziggler. Man, they had such great chemistry. And I know on Z True Long Island Story, they were pushing to have a WrestleMania match. And I remember back in the day, Ringside Collectibles, they had these stickers. Any order you purchased on their website, you would get this Zack Ryder and Dolph Ziggler sticker. And because they were really trying to push that I think for WrestleMania 29.
Yep.
But that was just a great match, and he won the United States Championship. I just love the moment. But now getting into favorite segment, which Ben, he really enjoyed the whole ECW thing that he was doing on the indies. Pretty much running around saying he's an ECW original because he was on the WWE version of it. And he had matches with Rhino, calling out Sabu. So that was Ben's favorite there, which can't believe Ben actually knows that. I was very surprised. Because even myself, I thought he was pulling some shit, so I messaged him and I'm like, come on, Ben, give me something you actually know. And he wrote this fucking paragraph about this, and I was like, oh, okay, Ben, all right. I guess you know what you're talking about.
It's kind of wild.
And Danny's favorite segment was when Eve Torres dumped him.
Bro,
and caught him kissing John Cena.
Bro, to be honest, no bullshit. That was the most entertaining thing I've ever seen in my life. Because you see Matt Cardona just fucking crippled in the chair, and then he fucking yells at John Cena and then throws the microphone down. And then I think it was either that night or the week after, fucking Kane fucking just throws him off the stage.
Which we also have that graphic somewhere. Oh man, I love these. I absolutely love this. But that was actually one of my favorite segments though. I did enjoy that little angle they did with Zack Ryder and Cena, and I think man, that would have been such a good time to make Cena heel and have this big feud with Zack Ryder as the top babyface. They really could have done something.
Bro, Matt Cardona ends up coming making an appearance for WWE this year. They need to have some kind of nod to that and have maybe John Cena in the back or whatever, and he walks past Matt Cardona or something.
That would be cool. But my favorite segment has got to be on the indies, man. GCW, him dressed up as Vince McMahon. I really enjoyed this, with the do-rag and everything. I thought it was just comical. It was great.
Matt Cardona. There's a reason why. There's a reason why Matt Cardona is the king of the indies. He does stuff that other people just go, get their shit in, do what they need to do to get over for that night. Matt Cardona, it seems like he has a story he wants to tell with every single appearance that he makes.
Exactly, and that's the thing. He goes out and he makes the best of it, which is what I always loved about him throughout his entire career. While I'm Tyrus here, his TikTok videos of him being arrested by Santino Marella was comedy gold. Moving on now to his favorite year, which Ben decided to go with 2022, 2023. This is when he was very hot in the independent circuit. This is where he was winning all the titles. And, man, he was really making a name for himself out there. Proving to WWE that they fucked up.
You could just keep the graphic up because I'll say that too. Because like I remember like back in that time period, and like we're talking about it like as if it wasn't fucking like 2-3 years ago. Especially like being a fan of pro wrestling, you couldn't go on any fucking pro wrestling site without seeing something that had to do with Matt Cardona or some kind of article or whatever. Like Matt Cardona was legitimately everywhere. But the fact that he wasn't signed to a major company back then, like his name was literally fucking everywhere. But I remember people used to fucking like back when I used to have a Twitter account, like people used to fucking like just do nothing but tag AEW and WWE nonstop, being like, sign this fucking guy. Like, what are you guys doing? Sign him, sign him, sign him. Like, he was everywhere back then.
Oh, exactly, man. Everywhere.
Back in my emo day. What the fuck happened to my eye? Why is it blue? I look like I got donkey kicked.
This was your favorite year, Danny, was when he was wearing the one-leg tights. And that was in the ECW, I think, 2009.
Bro, I have, to be honest,
I'll tell you a Zach fact.
Of that. What?
Did you know that Chris Jericho was the one to actually tell Zack Ryder to get rid of the one-legged tights? Because he had to change his look to be relevant.
Bro, I look like I got fucking kicked in the eye by a horse. What the fuck did you do?
I should have made the graphic all black.
I look like I went cow tipping and the fucking cow got pissed off and just kicked me in my eye.
And this is why, like, if you're listening to this on Apple, Spotify, or Google, you need to be a part of the live episodes on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel.
It's an experience.
Every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You get the best graphics, you get everything.
I feel like this needs to be a clip on the Clips channel. I don't know.
Oh, Getting Put Overs, we're gonna like try to upload like every week on there.
No, I'm
like,
talking about me complaining about my fucking fucked up eye. Bro, I look like I went cow tipping, tipping over some cows, in fucking like West Virginia, and a cow got really pissed and just fucking like kicked me in my face.
Oh, that is great.
It's all purple and fucking disfigured.
This is why, guys, I'm so disappointed right now that Ben's not here, because I know Ben would be fucking crying at all these graphics. Especially the ones that are coming soon. But my favorite year has got to be 2011, 2012, because this is just where he was red hot. Like, they had nothing going on for him, so then he made that YouTube channel, ZH Long Island Story, and he would upload new episodes every week, and he got himself so over that at Survivor Series, with The Rock and John Cena in the ring, they were chanting, "We want Ryder."
Yep.
That's the influence that this man had during this time.
And then WWE wanted him to put this series on WWE.com, and it just fucking died.
Yep, but hey, that's the thing about him. He's so creative that he was able to go out and come up with the Major Wrestling Figure podcast and other projects that he'd be doing. So, like, that's the thing. Like, he's always ready, man. Always. But I love 2011, 2012 Zack Ryder. So underrated.
All right, man. What graphic do you have now?
All right, favorite rivalry. And Ben went with him versus Kurt Hawkins, which I really don't remember. I think it might have been during the losing streak.
They were on a losing streak or whatever, and like they were a tag team, and I remember they couldn't win a match, and Kurt Hawkins was starting to get really angry about it, and I don't remember like how it fully played out or whatever, but I do remember this.
Yeah, no, like that's the thing, like, yeah, because weren't they like both losing, and then Zack Ryder beat Kurt Hawkins, and then like after that they became a tag team, and then that's when they won I wasn't watching around this time, so when Ben said this to me, I was like I don't remember this, but then I remember them winning the tag titles at WrestleMania in New York.
Yeah,
And then the next night they lost.
I remember them going on like a losing streak or whatever. Carl Hawkins was on like some kind of like, losing streak.
Oh, the losing streak was great.
I don't remember like fully like how the story played out or whatever.
Well, during that time, Angelo, Ben, like that was his like freaking. He was in his prime watching wrestling. Like that was his favorite fucking time being a wrestling fan. And Danny's favorite rivalry.
Why are my eyes closed, bro? I look like I'm getting head.
Getting kicked in the nuts by Eve Torres.
I look like one of those fucking weird ass people that fucking like to get kicked in the balls.
Well, yep, that was your favorite rivalry there, was when she kicked you in the nuts, I guess.
Jesus Christ.
This is why you have to do your homework.
When did I send you a picture of my eyes closed and my mouth open?
I don't know. Maybe I grabbed it during one of the photo shoots and you fucked up or something. My favorite rivalry has got to be him and Dolph Ziggler. Like, I always just enjoyed the chemistry that these two had. And they even, like, revisited it, too.
That's pretty badass graphic.
With Nick Nemeth and him. Yep, this was the graphic that they were trying to push.
I do remember that. They had a match at GCW or whatever, and I remember, was it Dolph Ziggler's dad that was in the crowd or whatever? Matt Cardona kept taunting him. Something like that.
Maybe, I think so.
I
know his dad got involved, and I know Zach's dad got involved.
I know it's on. Maybe it was Dolph Ziggler that was taunting Matt Cardona's dad, but it's on. The match is on YouTube if you guys want to check it out. It's from GCW.
That is a good match. But now getting into the biggest what if, and I know your answer will probably be the same exact one as Ben's, and I think a lot of people here in the live chat will even probably say this as well. What if Matt Cardona goes to WWE as Matt Cardona? I think that's everybody's biggest what if.
Yep. Like he's gonna be a massive star, bro. You know what I mean? Like if he doesn't win WWE gold at some point, like I'm not talking about Intercontinental US, but I'm talking like legit, like, the title. It'll be a massive L on WWE's part. I feel like it's gonna happen.
And Danny, we know the real truth here. Your biggest what if is if Zack Ryder never came out with Hosky.
Bro, where did you get a fucking picture of me when I was like fucking... Bro, I was like 7 or 8. What the fuck? Bro, what the fuck? This is what happens when I post pictures like this on fucking Facebook. Bro, what? Now everybody can see what I look like when I was a child. Can you see the resemblance?
Oh my god. And then you got the ho-hos.
Ho-hos, bro. No bullshit. I fucking love ho-hos. The Swiss rolls.
Oh my god. I'm crying right now. Oh shit.
This is what makes our podcast different from everybody else's, to be honest.
Gotta have fun, dude. Like if you're not having fun, then like what's the point?
So yes, everybody in the chat, this is me when I was like 8.
Oh man, the humor is there, but it's missing the Lone Ranger's
bro, man.
It is.
Over here stalking
honestly, I know. Here's the funny thing about this. I know Ben is not going to probably rewatch this episode, so I think what we're gonna do is next week for the getting put over, when Danny decides like who we're gonna put over, I'm just gonna show these Danny graphics in the beginning just to get Ben's like genuine reaction to all of this, especially this last one.
Oh, great.
All right, well, getting into my biggest what if. Mine is him being taken more seriously. Like, let's say like this low blow never happened at WrestleMania. Yep. Like, how far could his career have gone? Like, let's say maybe like he didn't get pushed off the wheelchair, and maybe like we got like a heel run of him being taken more serious against John Cena. Maybe he could have been like a number 1 contender for his WWE championship, and that could have been a way to like keep him relevant on television during this time. So my biggest what if is, like, what if, like, he was taken more serious as Zack Ryder? Like, how far could he have gone instead of being humiliated like this?
Yep.
But, ooh, that's a good one right there, by Tyrus. What if the Deathmatch King is now not on AEW as suited, but in WWE, yet funnier than ever? But, yeah, man. This week for the Getting Put Over segment, we just put over Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona, one of the most underrated in the professional wrestling business. And next week, even though you didn't do your homework, Danny, it's your pick. And who do you think we're putting over next week?
I think next week we should put over Y2J.
Ooh. All right, well, I'm definitely going to be having to do my homework because Jericho is the man. I like that.
From WCW and from the time that he was co-Intercontinental Champion with China.
Oh, there's so much to talk about with Jericho. Yeah, next week for Getting Put Over, guys.
Him being the first undisputed WWE champion when he beat Rock and Austin what was it, Unforgiven? Or
I think it was Unforgiven. Yeah, you're right. When he became undisputed champion, he won 2 matches?
Yeah, he beat Rock and Austin the same night.
On the same night. Yep, I remember that. So next week, guys, we are going to be putting over Chris Jericho. I love that. Absolutely love that. I'm sure Ben's going to be excited. Hopefully, us three are all together for next week's episode because it's been a while since we've had us three. But now, with that being said, guys, let's get into the We Are Wrestling main event topic. And this news came out today, which originally she was supposed to be just a regular weekly news and rumors until it officially came out. Saraya is officially gone from AEW. Today on her new podcast, Rule Breakers with Saraya, she has announced her departure from AEW, which was mutual and there was no bad blood between both parties. Saraya also said this on Twitter/X. It's mutual, but I loved my time at AEW and I had such a blast with the girls there. It'll hold a special place in my heart. Tony was great. AEW was great. I feel so lucky to be a part of this family for a couple of years. Here's to 2025. What the fuck am I going to get myself into now? So, with Saraya officially being gone from AEW, what's your thoughts on all this? And of course, at the end, we will get into whether or not we want to see her in WWE or not.
I'm actually kind of surprised, I mean, I know she requested time off or whatever. I didn't know, what exactly the details were. But, she was, a mainstay on television for a while. She was a good guy, and then she was a heel. But the thing is, I don't think... Besides her match at All In, where her family ended up.
Oh, when she won the Women's World Championship.
Besides that, I don't feel like her run in AEW was very memorable. She didn't really do anything to really I mean, do you really remember what she did on, Dynamite back in 2023? With whoever the fuck she was in the ring. No,
Outcast.
She didn't really do anything. Noteworthy. So
I agree.
I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised at the same time. I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about that. I kind of feel like she wasted a couple years of her life, but I feel like that about a lot of people that go to AEW, especially the ones that are they're built to be big deals or whatever, and then they they make a couple appearances and then they get put on the show for a couple months. It's you're literally just wasting fucking money. You're wasting resources. You're wasting time. If you're not going to use somebody, let them go. And maybe Tony Khan is the one that came up with the idea to let her go. And then she was like, yeah, maybe that's for the best. I don't know. But I honestly feel like she wasted, time in her career, when she was supposed to be retired because of an injury and she ended up being able to, return.
Which at the time, it made sense for her to go to AEW over WWE.
Yep.
And it's one of those situations where, unfortunately, Like, it was supposed to be this big thing. And I said this probably when she had that random heel turn during, like, one of my reactions.
Yeah.
That is where they lost all the momentum with Saraya, unfortunately. Because it was just horrible timing. Like, she just came back from this grueling neck injury. You build her up as, like, this baby face, like, coming back, like, this underdog storyline. Her and Britt Baker had a great fucking storyline. And then a couple weeks later, you form the Outcast. Like, out of nowhere. There was, like, no, like, depth, like, in that storyline, unfortunately. And I think that really didn't help Saraya. Like, they had no plan when they decided to turn her heel. And then, like, she was just doing little things here and there. And then, of course, like, All In being in Wembley, they put her in, I believe, a Fatal 4-Way match for the Women's World title. That's when she won the belt, which was a great moment. I thought, okay, we're going to finally friggin' build some momentum back up. Because she, around the time, was one of the more established stars during the time. Because they didn't have, like, Mercedes Moné. And, like, other women weren't as established as Saraya during this time. And I thought, like, maybe we were going to go somewhere when she won the championship, and nothing really happened. And, like, it really sucks. And I think that, like, this is going to be, like, a huge, like, a really big what if that we're going to be looking back at years from now. Because Saraya, like, she, like, reminded me of, like, because her career, like, she's always been, like, one of the top women wrestlers wherever she went. And, like, she was also very young. She also had lots of potential. And she was one of those number one draft picks that, like, you would pick up in the draft. And, like, she would be balling out, going hard, winning championships, building that Hall of Fame career. But then, unfortunately, she gets the neck injury. She's on the sidelines, and then she tries to come back, and she's a shadow of her former self.
Yeah.
And I really, really hope that, like, this is not how she ends her career.
I mean,
because,
I don't know.
Man, her run in AEW, I know she was trying to put over other talent, but at the same time, when you're already established, you have to put yourself over, too. And that's what fucking ruined it for her.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, she didn't really
do anything.
And I
love Paige. I love Saraya. I've been following her career before she got signed and went to FCW.
Yep. I mean, I don't really have much to say on it, to be honest with you. Like, it's, I'm not surprised. I will say that I'm not surprised one bit.
Angelo here. It worked out for Tony, but not so much for Saraya. Yeah, you could definitely say that for sure. But
I feel like Tony Storm's the one person that Tony Khan has not fumbled yet.
He's done a great job with her, and at first, like, it looked like they were going down that route, but then when she did the whole Timeless thing, and then they decided to have RJ City start doing, like, creative with her and Mariah, that's where, like, she really, like, pulled a 180, and, yeah, she's in a very good position now.
Yep.
But, obviously, like, with this, there's a lot of speculations going on about a possible WWE return. And, speaking of that, during an interview on Booker T's Hall of Fame podcast, when asked about a possible WWE return, she said this, and I quote, "Yeah, so I love WWE, and I don't have anything negative feelings towards them. They raised me, they saved me a lot. I just appreciate them so much. The idea of going somewhere else was only because the potential of my brother being there was a big thing. I just wanted him to be successful in wrestling, but I love WWE, and I would absolutely, if there was something that they needed from me, which was exciting, I would definitely go there, yeah. That would be silly not to, I feel like. So yeah, if there's an opportunity to do something fun, hell yeah, I'll jump on board." So, with all these speculations and everything going on about Saraya possibly going to WWE, coming back as Paige, maybe to end her career, would you like to see her return to WWE?
As long as they can, utilize her and not, the reason why she didn't go back to re-sign with WWE is because they didn't want to clear her for an in-ring, comeback or whatever, and she didn't feel like she was done. And now that you mentioned her brother,
Well, actually, to correct you, because I did listen to an interview that she did. I think it was on Chris Van Vliet's. She was actually cleared. Like, after, like, the whole, like, non-compete thing, like, when she went out and negotiated with AEW, she also did listen to WWE, and they were actually going to clear her. But with AEW, she felt like there was more on the table there than there was WWE.
It's just kind of ironic that, 2 weeks ago we talked about her brother, leaving AEW, and now it comes out that she's leaving AEW. Kind of makes you think that maybe she only did it for her brother because, she thought maybe she could have, opened the door for her brother to get an opportunity. And now that he's, Tony Khan let him go, she's like, I don't got to be there no more. Fuck you. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, that too, because I know her brother, like, this was his first big opportunity to go to AEW. They were doing some stuff with him on Rampage and, like, Ring of Honor, but then nothing was really sticking, so then, yeah, they just let his contract go, and, yeah, Saraya probably, they weren't really doing anything with her, and probably they mutually parted ways, which I think the way that Saraya and AEW handled it, I think that we wouldn't be having a lot of these outbursts with, like, Ray Phoenix and Ricky Starks if you just let them go. Like, I don't understand as a promoter, like, if somebody doesn't want to be a part of your team, why the fuck are you keeping them, like, on your team? That's just an anchor. That is dead weight that you need to carry, and I feel like you don't need that if you want to grow your company. Like, even in the WWE, like, if there's people that don't want to be there, it's like, in my opinion, just cut them loose. Let them go.
Because you're paying somebody that doesn't want to be there just to stay at home. That's money that you can put towards somebody else that, that deserves an opportunity or that does legitimately want to, work for your company.
Exactly. So, would I like to see Paige return to WWE? Yes. Because I know that she does want to end her career very soon in professional wrestling. I know she's made that clear in multiple interviews this past week with, like, her book and everything being out. And now that, like, she can make that decision for herself, I think the best way to do it is have one final run in WWE. And honestly, like, it would be kind of cool to see Paige work with maybe some of, like, the WWE stars, like Lyra Valkyria. I think that they could put on a great match. I think that they have a lot of new blood in their women's division, that, especially Paige, because she, like, was very young when she got into the business. Like, I think she was only, like, 21 years old when she won the Divas title.
Yep.
Like,
she could definitely, like,
she can work with these stars that they have.
She could definitely work with, like, somebody like Roxanne Perez to get her to the next level, because Roxanne is the same age as Paige was when she, first came to WWE. So,
and honestly, like, for a final run, like, I'm not saying WWE Women's World Championship, but it would be kind of cool to see her maybe win, like, the United States or Intercontinental title. I think that, like, she can make that title a little bit prestigious. It would be cool to have a name like Paige on, like, in the history of that title.
And like I was saying before, with all the rumors of, WWE bringing back the Evolution All Women's pay-per-view, I mean, that this would be, like, the perfect time.
Oh, 1,000%. And I think if there's a time for her to come back, I think now is the time. And I think, like, for her, like, wanting to end her career off on a high note, I think going back home is the best thing to do.
Yep. 100%.
And, like, and that's the thing, like, a lot of the times I feel like, when it comes to, like, WWE people, like CM Punk and, like, other names like that, like, even, like, people are talking about AJ Styles, like, going to TNA. Like, he should end his, like, career in TNA with, like, one final match. Like, that's how I kind of feel, like, about, like, anybody. Like, if WCW is still around, like, I'd probably say Goldberg should end his career in WCW, or Sting should end it in WCW. So I think, like, Saraya going back to WWE to end it, maybe in, like, a match against, like, a Bianca Belair or, like, a Rhea Ripley, because we haven't seen her work with some of these newer stars.
Yep.
That would be a great high note to end her career. And I'm
100%.
all for it.
There's a lot of potential. I'm looking forward to seeing what she does,
Oh, absolutely. And, like, she was a Triple H girl in the early NXT days, too.
Yep.
So I think it's very possible, but I'm sure we'll get some news and we'll be talking about it on the show at some point. But, Danny, anything else before we close off this long episode of the podcast?
No, I mean, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. I do go live on my personal channel. We watch Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. I haven't really done an AEW show in a while, whatever, but I do plan on going live for AEW Dynasty. I believe in April, so that's gonna be fun. So if you guys want, to kick back and hang out, Donnie does over here in the We Are Wrestling. He does all the like PLEs and pay-per-views or whatever, but I do PLEs, weekly shows, everything. So if you guys want somebody to kick back with and hang out, watch some wrestling with, just come over to my channel, subscribe. Almost to 1,900 subscribers. So appreciate you.
Hell yeah. And just a reminder that if you guys have nothing going on this Saturday in the Western Mass area, Blitzkrieg Pro, We Are Wrestling. We're going to be sponsoring a couple matches. Former WWE star Paul London versus Andy Brown. And we're going to be sponsoring a official WWE ID match, Shawn Legacy versus Marcus Mathers. It's going to be a great show. If you can't make it out to the Enfield, Connecticut area, highly recommend you guys subscribe to IWTV and watch the whole show live. And of course, we will have the full matches that we're sponsoring up on the channel, but it won't be exactly on Saturday, which is why we tell you guys to go to IWTV. Get great independent pro wrestling. Also, this Friday, Big Event New York vlog is coming out, and there will be a Big Event haul over on my toy channel, Best One Donnie, which we are 20 subscribers away from 2,000 subscribers. So if you guys want to go support me on there, like my links are down in the description box below, but Big Event vlog will be coming out, and it's going to be must watch. It's going to be really good, and you can actually watch me interact with Mercedes and get this wonderful 8x10 of her gorgeous face looking into Ben's soul sign. Look at that, to Ben.
Oh, speaking of the Big Event vlog, did you let everybody know the what you found out during the event?
What did I find out during the event?
Zilla Fatu watches the fucking show.
That's right, guys. Zilla Fatu is a We Are Wrestling Maniac as well. The main one, baby. Fucking love Zilla.
He saw Donnie's sweatshirt and he was like, I seen your shit on YouTube.
Yeah, dude, hanging out with Zilla was really cool. But also, there is another vlog up. If you don't have any content to watch for the next couple days, you can check out the Chris Jericho Cruise. Two of our We Are Wrestling Maniacs, Silky J and Dan the Man, were on the Jericho Cruise partying with Will Ospreay. Silky even went up on the stage and was freaking dancing and singing. Great vlog. They did a great job over there, so highly recommend checking that out. Also, the Wrestling Classic. June 14th, we're going to be bringing in the Blue Meanie in Springfield, Mass. So if you guys want to get something ordered, there is the links down in the description box below. But of course, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac already and you're listening to this wherever you get your podcast, give us a 5-star review, not just any review, a Best One review, and download the episode.
No AEW stream tonight, but I'll be live on Friday for SmackDown.
Yes, he will. And you can only get that on Danny Huckins PW, which is in the links below. But if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac already, over on the YouTube channel where you can catch the live episodes every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or rewatch them, recommend you guys to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications, because we have vlogs, we have reactions, we do live PLE and pay-per-view watch-alongs, and even the live episodes of the pod, extras, everything pro wrestling on here. Subscribe. Links down in the description box below. You can follow Danny and myself over on our social medias, and you can even follow We Are Wrestling on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter for all the latest wrestling news. We're posting daily on there, and we even have some clips over on TikTok. Also, subscribe over to the We Are Wrestling Clips YouTube channel. We only have 26 subscribers right now.
Help us get
We're
to
posting
100.
lots of videos on here, which, if you guys want to give Danny and Ben some shit for their horrible John Cena take, go to this video right now and comment some hate, because it's a lot of fun.
Views on that video, that's actually not that bad, to be honest with you.
Not bad at all.
The views seem like they're pretty fucking solid, bro.
But we have a bunch of short form content on here. We're putting throwback clips in here. We're also going to have a whole playlist for Ben with his love for Mercedes. And there's just lots of content on the way here. And it's just a lot of fun stuff, like even bad takes. Like we're going back and like roasting like ourselves with horrible takes. that we're looking back at. It's a great channel to subscribe to, so highly recommend checking that out. But to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, Danny, thank you for talking pro wrestling with me, because I feel like when it's just you and I, it's always a 3-hour episode because we have a lot to talk about. But to all the Maniacs, we are out of time, and we are taking over. Peace.